raad en saam, met lyding en hoop, verdriet en saam staan jy staan. Jy is altyd daar. Dit wat ons doen, ons liefdes, ons vreugdes, ons plekke, ons thuisdes, tot daar waar ons reis, jy is daar. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Al verander straatname, al word helde laat val, ons is steeds deur ons adem, ons kultuur, ons verhaal, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, in Afrikaans vir ons mense. Ons is daarmee gebore, die taal waarvoor ons staan, dit vloei deur ons are, ons kinders praat het saam, dit sal altyd bestaan. Afrikaans is ons wese. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is. Dis die taal waarin ons groet, die taal is in ons bloed, is Afrikaans, vir ons mense. En ek stuur vir jou 'n sy, met 'n boodskap daarby, en waar jy is, sal jy dit kry, en Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense. Afrikaans vir my mense. Afrikaans vir ons mense.
I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Hey folks, welcome back. This is Chris live in Central Pennsylvania. Oh, I didn't brush my hair. Look at that. I thought I brushed my hair. Give me a second. I'll be right back. And we're back. Well, sorry about that, folks. That was a little unprofessional. Unkept. I was busy doing about 4 or 5 things simultaneously as this happened. Just a second. I've got to send a message out. Yeah. Okay, I see that, but that's not helpful. Sending me those messages doesn't tell me what's going on. We can't fix things if we don't know the circumstances, if it's even fixable. All right. Please give me an update. Thank you. Oh, these people... You know, oh, somebody did something. Okay, why did they do it? Wow, they did this. Anyway, you know, it's, I swear. I guess people get caught up in what they're doing and don't understand the repercussions, the implications of what's going on, and they forget that they have all the information in their head. They're communicating to people that must make decisions, leaders, but they're not sharing any of the details. It's kind of hard to make a decision in a complete vacuum. Very frustrating. Anyway, folks, welcome back to the program. Thanks to everybody that's here. Let me say hello to the usual suspects. Kaiser Sose, Monterey Siebert's in from Cape Town. Teresa's here. Pablo Charlie. Emil Theret, welcome back to you. It's cold in Tulba, okay. It's snow in the mountains. It's supposed to be springtime. What's going on down there in South Africa? Must be that global climate change. Changing everything. Keith Alderson in from the UK. How's it going, Keith, from Coventry? And Dylan Colbert is there. Peter John Vust, good evening to you. Robert Renkin. Gus is here. Trevor Bush. Ants is back. Ants, how are you doing? And Chris Marie is here. Pleasure to see you again. Garrett Gillage says, peekaboo. Audio is echoed again. No, it's okay. Hang on. Audio is echoed again. It sure is. This is really... All right, let's see. All right, let's see. Is that better? Does that sound better? 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that better? Does that sound better? 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is that better? Doesn't sound great. Doesn't sound great. Sounds better, but not great. That's weird. Anyway, I don't know what's going on with that. Yeah, thank you, audio. Audio bystander, for telling me the audio is echoing. No what? Okay, that's not helpful, Garrett. No what? No what? It's like the people sent me a message. Person quit. Okay, why? They quit on Friday. Okay, that's not what I asked. I asked why they quit. Sounds like you're in a tin. Like, seriously? What the hell's going on? All right, let's see if that's any better. All right, let's see if that's any better. Okay, that's good. That sounds good. Let's see if that's any better. Okay, that's good. All right, that sounds much better. Yeah, I don't know what's going on, folks. Yeah, thank you, Ronaldo. I don't know. I mean, this is bizarre. I haven't done anything. I don't change anything. Why should I have to unplug this damn thing every time? I don't know. Very weird. Maybe the microphone's going. Maybe it's time to buy a new one. So it's my haircut that did it. Okay, thank you, Garrett. The rants broke the mic. Yeah, maybe the rants broke my microphone. Anyway, for those of you who run a business, and if you have a manager or someone like that that's working for you, and they send you a message and says, they send you screenshots of someone that's obviously quit working there, and then you ask them what happened, and they send you another message saying they quit on Friday. Okay, that's not helpful. First off, it would have been nice this on Friday instead of giving us the weekend. Anyway, oh, God bless. It's just, it's unbelievable. The world is just coming to a complete collapse because people can't do simple. What is my eyes are all puffy today? Look at this. Look at this. Looks like I've been in a boxing match. Anyway, Richard Kuhn, hello to you. Yeah, it's weird. I don't know. The world is coming to complete collapse. People can't do basic, simple tasks. Instead of telling people, you know, it's like when I ask a person a question, they want to give me their life story. I don't want the life story. Yes, I know I tell stories, but that's my job. I'm a storyteller. I'm an analyst. That's what I do, but not when we need to make a decision. You tell us up front, we don't have this for these reasons, and the way we get out of this is by doing this, this, and this. And if we don't do one of those, we won't succeed. So you have branches and sequels as to what happens and where we go. But, oh my goodness. Pete. Anyway, all right, let's get to some of this news, folks. There's some crazy stuff happening. First off, Jimmy Carter, if he survives till tomorrow, and I say that not sarcastically or rudely, but Jimmy Carter is in hospice and has been there for, what, a year and a half? Jimmy Carter, if he survives until tomorrow, will be 100 years of age, obviously the oldest ex-president in the history of the United States. He will turn 100 tomorrow if he survives that long. And I hope he does. I hope we have a president who lives to be 100, even though he's a Democrat. People are trying to reevaluate and reassess his presidency, and let me help you with that. Here is the in-depth, complete look at the presidency of James Earl Carter, the peanut farmer from Georgia. It was crap! It was crap! Cirrus Savoy says, storyteller LMGA. I have no idea what LMGA means. Is that light metallic grade aluminum? I just made that up, light metallic grade aluminum. Camp David Accord, peanut cutter. Yep. All right, so Tshwane, woo, baby. I'll tell you what. Did you guys see my video? Did you see it? Let me pull it up here, and I'll just show you. And this is oof, man. I went through my interview with Herman Mashaba last year when I was the multi-party charter at Emperor's Palace, Kempton Park. And oh, that reminds me. Let me just check on something here real quick. I just got to do something. I keep forgetting to do this. Oh, come on. That's why I can't find it. I can never find it. Oh, my goodness. Sorry. I was looking for this. I did it before. Looking for somebody's name. I have a contact for Franz Kronia, and I want to get him on. But I interviewed him last year, and I got to tell you, folks, when did that one go up? Well, that one's taken off better than yesterday. Well, I put it up last night. That's why. Yeah. So, yeah, I did an interview with him last year, and he said something very poignant. And let me just share that with you here very quickly here. I've got an advert we got to run through here. All right, so let's get through the ad. Yeah, and so if you missed this, go watch my video. And this is the start of my video. It's very important. So let's see. I don't want that. Okay, so here's my interview last year. This is the start of the video I produced last night. Which, you know, YouTube, stop scamming me, YouTube. Start showing my content promoting. But here you go. All right, so that's the multi-party charter last year. Chris looking a little pudgy there and needing a haircut. But my hair is quite luxurious, isn't it? All right, here we go. This is last year.
Why for us as Section SA? I can tell you for us as Section SA, if we work with ANC, our party will collapse overnight.
Kidnappings. Wow, folks. Let me play that again for you.
Why for us as Section SA? I can tell you for us as Section SA, if we work with ANC, our party will collapse overnight.
Will it? Kidnapping. Will it collapse overnight? Well, that's my prediction for Action SA. Oh, wow. That's last year. Boy, words come back to haunt politicians, do they not? Do they not? Yeah, so, okay, lach my chat off. Okay, laugh my butt off. Oh, gotcha, okay. Gotcha. That's what that means. I didn't know that. World news outlets are providing a word salad. Toxic, we are gaslit to the extreme. Indeed, bystander, that's the case. But you're not getting gaslit here. What you're getting here is upfront, honest, cogent, insightful, thoughtful analysis with some occasional barbs and sarcasm directed at people. By the way, folks, I'll have a deputy minister on the program Thursday. I'll let you guess who the deputy minister is. A member of the cabinet of South Africa will be on this program Thursday. It'll be a special time at 4 p.m. South African time. That member of parliament, who's a member of Ramaphosa's cabinet, will be on this program talking about their portfolio. So there you go. Back to the daily. Oh, boy. Just leave it there. Just leave it there. Leave N's little childish word salad up there for the moment. When it becomes a racist, then you can take him off. Moderators, leave that comment there. Just let it be there. And has come to whine about his unfortunate black supremacy desires and his fantasies that just aren't quite working out the way he hoped for. Yeah, not quite the way he hoped. Anyway, but leave it there for the moment. Anyway, we will have a member of parliament on the program on Thursday who is a cabinet minister. Right? So look at it. Ronaldo says, Leon, okay, I'm going to let you all guess. I'm not going to tell. Not going to tell you who it is. A member of cabinet. Well, N is more annoying because N pushes comments into the racist field. I don't recall seeing any of your comments going racist, Pablo. So we have to censor N because we don't tolerate racism on the program. Black supremacists, white supremacists are not welcome here. We are Homo sapiens. And if you don't believe that, stick your appendage in a place and see if you reproduce. And magically, we do reproduce. So we're all the same. Get over yourselves. Some people are more attractive than others based on what some people view beauty as. Some people are brighter than others. Some people are dumber than others. Some people are more accomplished than others. Some people are more arrogant than others. And some people are just evil. And those are the racists. All right. So, excuse me. God bless you. There's a congestion here again today. We got the microphone fixed. Now we got the voice fixed. But you know, the microphone isn't doing that every single time. That's what's especially annoying about it. Especially annoying about it. Anyway, as I was saying. So, Tshwane, we've got Jimmy Carter. Yeah, and we're not even talking about, where'd N's comment go? Oh, I said leave N's comment there. He took it away. That's fine. Yeah, so I was talking about Jimmy Carter, not Tshwane. So, you want to... I guess he saw the interview with Herman Mashaba. So that's just holding people to account, folks. I didn't even ask that question in the interview. That was shared. I asked a different question. Then I get trolls on my channel. Wow, show the whole interview. It's there. If you bother to pay attention when I spent thousands of dollars out of my pocket to travel to South Africa, to go to Emperor's Palace at Kempton Park, not compensated by anybody, to cover the multi-party charter, and then go to Sandton City to cover the BRICS Summit. If you paid attention, if you actually gave a flying flip instead of just being a self-pleasuring troll, you would know that that interview is on my channel. I interviewed Herman Mashaba. It's there. Go look for it. Go look for it. Yeah, no. Instead, show the whole interview. Why don't you show the whole interview? There was nothing clipped out of that. That was the entire statement of what Herman Mashaba had to say about his party dying if they worked with the ANC. And he was actually talking at local level. So anyway, but the whole thing is there. It's all there for the world to see. But trolls are just trolls. Evil, nasty people. See the new Watchtower? No. Hey, last night I watched Rebel Moon. Well, I have to say that... as far as casting, it's very woke and disappointing, but not surprising. The first one was better than the second, but man, you want to talk about some plot holes? Oh, dear God. There are massive plot holes in that stupid thing. It was supposed to be a trilogy, but the first one was really entertaining and dreamy, but the second one had some really clunker moments. Some great special effects. The storyline itself is interesting, but it's a bit ludicrous. But hey, it's fun. It's a sugar high. I enjoyed it. Rebel Moon on Barry Obama's racist Netflix network last night. I watched it. It was both movies, so I dedicated 4 hours of my life last night to it. So it wasn't that horrible, but it's definitely woke, and it's definitely poorly written. Maybe it's not poorly written. Maybe it's just poorly. It might just be the script for the movies are actually poorly written. It's maybe the original book isn't poorly written, but from what I can see, massive whole plots. I mean, I could drive, a freaking tank through the whole plots in that thing. It was unbelievable. So you can watch it if you want. You'll find it entertaining. Get some popcorn, sit back, suspend belief on a couple times. The lead protagonist is an Arab from Algeria. I don't know if she grew up in Europe or whatever, but she's Arab. She's pretty good, except when she cuts her hair, then she looks prety wicked and unattractive. But her acting is decent, yeah, it's all right. It's all right. So if we give it 1 out of 10, I give it 6. That was worth my time. 6.5 maybe, if I'm feeling generous. But Rebel Moon. Why the chat goes silent? Suddenly nobody's chatting. What's going on here? Oh, there it is. Got to go. Where's Charmaine going? Family just rocked up. Well, get them in here. Make them watch the show. You're having the Afrikaans on. Oh, okay. That's Chris is guessing. Okay. All right. You're still guessing at what minister I'm having on. So, yep, I'm having a minister on. So, all right. To the news. To the Batmobile. Well, folks, greedy employees think that they deserve more money when there is no money. That, of course, was the situation in Tshwane. One of the reasons that led to the desire to oust Celius Brink, a person who was seeking fiscal responsibility for an out-of-control fiscus for a municipality that is just a disaster. First off, let's be clear up front. The main reason why these municipalities don't work is because the ANC's power grab in the 1990s in obliterating local communities and creating massive megapolis municipalities, pushing the responsibility for small towns that were managed successfully in the past onto major metropolitan areas by giving them outlying areas full of poverty-stricken people and burying them in debt. Yeah, that's what happened. South Africa used to have far more municipalities. Now, I've always said one of the main reasons they did that was to consolidate power. You see, if you create Johannesburg, but Johannesburg includes Ekurhuleni, it doesn't include Ekurhuleni, that's a bad example. If you create Pretoria, and you had Soshanguve and Hammanskraal, which are not part of Pretoria, they're not even physically there. You have to drive for like 20 minutes to get Hammanskraal. How is that the same city? I mean, that's ridiculous. If you add all those things in there, which are not just part of the town, you bring in these responsibilities in, but you also bring in votes so that your party can win the majority because you know that those voters out there are going to vote for the historically disadvantaged party. Yeah, so that's what they did. But now I can see this also was an effort to make these places ungovernable. Their argument was it would make it more governable because a larger city, but we've seen the pervasive corruption. So anyway, tough wage talks ahead, according to Business Day, as government workers demand a massive pay rise. Well, they're greedy little bastards. You think these raises come from somewhere out of the sky? No, they come out of people's pockets and taxes. Public servants demand a 12% pay rise despite inflation easing for the third consecutive month at just 4.4%. So they want to triple the amount of money they get over inflation. They want 3 times as much as inflation. South Africa's 1.3 million greedy government workers demanded a 12% pay hike, say they are preparing for a long talks process that begins tomorrow. After the state, which is grappling with a $700 billion plus public sector wage bill, offered the unions a 3% rise. Other demands by the country's public servants include teachers, nurses, police officers for a $2,500 housing allowance increment across the board. Why do government employees get a housing allowance? It's not the responsibility of the taxpayer to provide homes for people who work for the government, with exceptions. With exceptions, senior military personnel, the senior politicians, we provide residences for them. Yes, but not for the clerks who work in the Home Affairs Office. You don't provide housing for them. It's ridiculous. 2,500 Rand housing allowance, a tenfold rise in the danger allowance to 1,000 Rand. You get danger pay if you work for the South African government. I mean, I think that speaks volumes about South Africa. The only time I ever get danger pay or imminent fire pay is when I'm in a combat zone. Wow. So is that admission by South African unions that South Africa is a gangster state and everyone lives in a perpetual state of combat? It sounds to me like that's what it is. 1,000 Rand, a performance bonus. A performance bonus. I don't think there's many people in the South African government or the American government who deserve performance bonuses, but they get them. We get them. We see them. Yep. Bursary schemes for dependents of employees and permanent employment. They want bursary schemes. So they want kindergeld. They want kindergeld. So you're supposed to give them a 12% pay raise. You're supposed to give them $100 a month housing allowance. You're supposed to give them $50 a month imminent danger pay, and then they want you to pay for their dependents. So every time they stick their wick in a place, do a few thrusts, reproduce, the taxpayer has to pay for that child. Oh, please. What kind of morons are these people? Talk about spoiled, whiny little biatches. Oh, my gosh. Now, I'm going to get flamed for that. Oh, you're so insensitive. Oh, these people are barely making it. Well, then go work in the private sector. And then when they can't get government employees that have any skills, they'll have to raise the rates. Wow. Unbelievable. The wage demands have been described as the toughest test yet for the new Minister of Public Service Administration, Nkosi Mzambo Buthelezi. Well, good luck with that. Oh, my goodness. My goodness. Ruben Maleka, the general manager of the Public Servants Association, which represents 245,000 government employees, said the employer is offering us 3%. We foresee a long negotiation process ahead. Marathon talks will begin on Tuesday, where there will be exchanges of responses along the lines of what has been offered and where we are. Well, here's what I offer you. Nothing. No pay raise. No soup for you. No soup for you. Next. Next. But, sir, we just want 12% a housing allowance, a bursary to put our children in kindergarten, and danger pay. What's wrong with that? No soup for you. Bye. Lai Sufi. Oh, apparently Helen Zilla has renamed Panyazi Lasufi, and now he's called Lai Sufi. It sounds like a filovirus. You've got Marburg, and you've got Ebola, and now you're Lai Sufi. Folks, Lai Sufi is in a Marburg virus. By the way, Barney, am I going to say this on air? Let's see if I can find here. Where's it at? Where is it at? I saved it somewhere here. That's not it. Oh, darn it. That's from last night. Where's it at? Try this one here. Yeah, no. Oh, I know where I sent it. I sent the text to somebody. Let me see if I can find that text. Yeah, I sent somebody this text earlier. I'm like, wow, man, can you believe somebody got away with saying this? Yeah, so Tshwane has, this is from Barney Mtomboti, who's a decent commentator. He doesn't get everything right, but he's pretty good most of the time. He said Tshwane has now become their latest conquest. The so-called Alex Mafia has been given the honor of pulling off such coups. They wouldn't have done it by themselves. Now, this is where the hyperbole and the euphemism comes into play. But if a white South African said the following, and I won't say the words because then the leftists will try to cancel me for simply reporting the news, but he can get away with this because he's black. But he says, they're just the beep. It's someone in the Simeon family. Paul Mashatili is the organ grinder. Ooh. masterminding everything from inside Cyril Ramaphosa's cabinet. Wow. Wow. He used the M word. The M word, which is perfectly fine in the euphemism. It doesn't imply race. It doesn't state race. But boy, you let a South African white person say that? Woo! It's all over, man. They'll be canceled in a heartbeat. They'll be canceled in a heartbeat for saying something like that. That is absolutely crazy. Anyway, so Helen Zille is now calling Panyazi Lesufi Lai Sufi. Folks, it feels like a filovirus. And now we report live from South Africa, undergoing an epidemic of Lai Sufi. Is it like listeria? Lai Sufi. I'm sorry. I'm loving it. It's like McDonald's, man. I'm loving it. Yeah, that's right. Not. Anyway, what's this? All right, so I just found out problems. Okay, so solve part of the problem. All right, so the ANC's push against the DA in Gauteng continues as Premier Panyazi Lesufi goes head-to-head with DA Federal Chair Helen Zille over Celius Brink's removal. Zille criticized the ANC in Gauteng and accused of putting the government national unity at risk. True. And then Lesufi said, Gogo Helen Zille, the decision to support the motion no confidence was taken by the National Working Committee of the ANC, and no amount of propaganda and misuse of media houses will change that. Well, Lesufi can say what he wants. I mean, Lesufi can say what he wants. He got me saying it, Helen. But here's the reality. It's plainly obvious that the structures of the ANC in Gauteng are not the ANC. They are the Lesufi Army of Chaos, LAC. They're lackeys. That's what this party is. Panyazi Lesufi is running the Lesufi Army of Chaos. La lackeys. Yes, that's who they are. So Helen Zille is laying it on, and so is Panyazi Lesufi. More than 20 suburbs in Johannesburg currently without water because there's no parts. Who allows a supply system to get like this? Parts to fix the burst pipes will be available only later this week. Johannesburg residents hit hard by impending water crisis on Monday after years of poor maintenance and lack of infrastructure build. Johannesburg's water has confirmed more than 20 suburbs in the northern and southern suburbs were affected after pipes in major reservoirs in the city burst. Among them were Bryanstown, Bromhof, Olofdale, Northgate, Sonadal, Sundowner, and Honeydew. Wow. The extent of work required is large, but teams are attending to various aspects requiring attention. Interesting. Wow. I guess we're lucky it wasn't Pretoria, because then there'd be nobody working. They're all taking a holiday now because they have no mayor. Lutzville residents in the Northern Cape are quite angry, and they want bail to be denied for a farmer who's accused of driving over a small boy. 1,000 signatures from the Lutzville community, which is significant for the size of the community, have been handed over to the Vredendal Magistrates Court. They're calling for bail to be denied to farmer Christoffel Johannes Stoneman, who was accused of driving over a 6-year-old boy. The farmer has not yet addressed the court. A farm worker activist said the boy had been accused of taking oranges from a local orchard. Kwesi Yankees suffered serious injuries and was initially rushed to Vredendal Hospital and then transferred to the Red Cross Children's Hospital in Cape Town for emergency medical treatment. He successfully underwent surgery on both of his legs and is recovering. Thank goodness for that, and wish all the best to Kwesi Yankees, and hopefully he recovers fully and has no lingering effects from this horrible situation. Stoneman made his second appearance in court where he's charged with attempted murder and reckless driving and or negligent driving. The act was motivated by the misguided belief that the boy stole an orange from a tree on 20 September. Kwesi remains hospitalized and the farmer showed no remorse when he first appeared in court. Well, if in fact that's true, that's pretty horrific. Or is the consequence of someone who has declining faculties and ran over the boy by mistake? We don't know. We don't know the circumstances. There's no mention in the story about what happened after the child was run over. He was also with his mother, apparently. No discussion about what happened to the mother. So we don't know the facts of the case. It is pretty horrific, though. Anybody that would use a motor vehicle as a weapon to run over a child really needs to be incarcerated. That's unbelievable if that's true. But even if it wasn't malicious, even if it wasn't intentional, he is responsible for the vehicle he was operating in, and the child was injured. So at a minimum, he's certainly facing some criminal charges that are deserved for the reckless endangerment of the child's life. That's horrific. Kwesi Yankees, we hope that you recover. That's pretty sad. And who's going to pay for that? That's crazy. Who's paying for that child's care? Panyazi Lesufi is a race baiter, says Patrick, and plays the victim card he attacked Iranian. Yeah, exactly. Awkward Leon says, my suburb in Germiston has had very low water pressure for over a year. Serviceability is the worst I've ever seen it. Why isn't anybody saying anything about the water then? Well, Gavin, I don't know. I talk about it many times. I've been talking about water in Port Elizabeth for years now. I've talked about the Cape Town, the fake water crisis. No, it was a real water crisis, but the reasons for it were fake. It satisfied the dreams and ambitions of the leftist lunatics who want to blame it on climate change when it has more to do with the fact that there's 5 million people living in the catchment area who are using that water, and a century ago it was 1 million. And that today per capita consumption of water is demonstrably higher than it was a century ago when there was largely pre-industrialization in that area. And there weren't all the things that we have today, like lawns that people are using the water, and all these people filling pools and all these other things, industrial uses consuming water. So it's very dishonest of the greenies to run and go, oh, climate change, climate change, climate change, climate change. Well, it's like saying Beetlejuice 3 times. Climate change, climate change. Go, whoa, here they are. Here are the leftists. Here they come with the wackadoodles and the black helicopters to attack everybody under the sun. They're just a bunch of losers, lunatics, making stuff up as they go. They have no idea. Remember, by 2010, the world will end. Oh, sorry, that was John Kerry. By 2015, the planet will be on fire. There'll be nowhere to live. That's, destroy the world. Greta Thunberg. Yeah, and then now it's 2020. Well, now it's 2022, 2024. Now, 2030 is when the world ends, folks. Make no mistake, human interaction with the planet can have a very devastating impact, particularly when people are irresponsible, like tossing their rubbish just out the window or in the streets where they live, giving breeding grounds for malaria, from mosquitoes, and for diseases like cholera, and letting their sewage run wild. So humans do have an impact on the planet, but we can't slow down this big blue marble spinning at 18,000 miles per hour. Now, that's beyond our capacity. We cannot alter the weather patterns of the planet. Well, short of using hydrogen bombs, that'll do it. But beyond that, it's really beyond our capability. So the point here is that people lie to achieve a goal. If the climate zealots were honest and show the devastation like I saw as a kid when I grew up and was deeply influenced as a farmer by the Environmental Protection Agency's publication before it became a captured, corrupt state organ when it worked for the government, before it became captured, when they produced the information about polychlorinated biphenyls, polybromated biphenyls, and about Love Canal, and about the Cuyahoga River catching on fire, about all of these things. These had a deep impact on me and my respect for the planet as a young man growing up, seeing these things and what had happened before we began cleaning up our act. But when you lie to people, intentionally, willfully, well, it's Cape Town, it's because of climate change. No, it's not. That played a factor. Smaller amount of rain, but had the city managed water properly, had the pipes been functioning properly, had there not been a tragedy of the commons with people using spigots in informal settlements and leave them running 24 hours a day, had you had a brown or gray water reuse policy, had you had leadership under the National Party, the ANC, the DA, any leaders ever in Cape Town with any vision, you would not have had a water crisis in Cape Town. You would have a system in place, knowing you have a finite amount of water from your dams available to you over a period of time. You would monitor that. And as you reach certain stages, you would begin to put water restrictions in. You would begin to inform the public for that in a public awareness campaign about the need to be more respectful with your water usage. And you would never have had the crisis that we had in Cape Town. But no, it's all climate change. It's all climate change. Yeah. No, thank you. Enjoy the water crisis in Cape Town. Now I have a veggie garden fed by rainwater. Could shower in filtered harvested water. Okay. Cape Town is freezing. Climate change, my butt. It's called planet wobble. Egypt has green lush. Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. The planet does wobble on its axis, and this causes significant changes in the weather patterns. We're being told that the Gulf Stream is slowing down because of warming things. Yeah, well, the warm weather is what causes the Gulf Stream. That's funny that they claim that. North Carolina plant south. Other points south be experiencing water shortages and sewer contamination for many months after hurricane. There's a pattern, and are we all prepared? Yeah, you're right about that, but I'd say that storm did catch a lot of people by surprise who didn't expect to find themselves in the problem that they found themselves in. Light Rain says, funny, after all the support, Ronaldo is back to stepping on your toes by overlapping streams. You guys need to negotiate schedules, share the views. What I do, Light Rain, is I usually bend over and move my broadcast to a later time. Ronaldo had 8 o'clock, and he had 8 o'clock for years. throughout the pandemic. And then suddenly he changed. Remember, my original broadcast time was at 5 p.m. South African time, which was 11 here or 10 o'clock. And the reason for that was because it was a window in which there was no one really broadcasting live streams at that time. Most people were locked down. So I started doing that. And then Ramon Cabanach, after I did it for a few months and I was getting success, decided to do his live stream at the exact same time as me. Well, that's his prerogative, but it hurt my channel. So I moved my broadcast time to 6 p.m., which made more sense for people coming home from work, but it also impacted because a lot of people are sitting down to dinner, and that affected me. So I don't see Beth on here anymore. Beth Shutt. I haven't seen Beth Shutt in donkey years. She used to be on the program all the time. But when I moved to 6 p.m., I lost people like that. Ronaldo was on at 8, so 6. That meant Ramon was done with his morning shot live stream, and I was unchallenged. No one else. I had a chance to draw an audience. Ronaldo was on at 8 p.m. Then Ronaldo, for some reason, I guess because it's too late for the young Boriki, he can't stay awake past 8 o'clock. He decided to move his thing to 7 p.m., which does impact my program. But hey, a lot of times my viewers stay here because my entertainment is much more entertaining than Ronaldo. Yeah, no, the magnetic poles also flipped every so many million years. Bernard says, how are you doing? As in, how are you doing? How am I doing? Well, my hip's not bothering me today. That's improvement. My computer is repaired. It was costly, almost 7,000 Rand. And I've got a lot going on. This veterans organization is collapsing around me because of people not getting involved, the financial cost of the place, all the stuff going on. It's just a nightmare. I don't deserve this nightmare. I'm just trying to help people, and I get a lot of abuse for it. So, quite frankly, should just close the doors and file bankruptcy and let these people do without the organization. That's what should be done. Yep, that's what should be done. But we'll see what happens. I'm trying to keep it open, but it deserves to be closed because these people in this town, many of them simply don't deserve it. And others who think they deserve it aren't helping us out, and so they don't deserve it either. So, it's just going to go under. Dealing with that's very frustrating. Bernard. And then we have the elections coming up on November 5th. I'm a judge of elections. It's going to be brutal. It will be a very long day. For me, election day begins at 5 a.m. when I'm up and I'm already at the polling station at 6 a.m. The reason I'm there at 6 a.m. is that's when I can turn the alarm off successfully. And then from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. we get set up, and 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. we run 13 hours straight through with the election. And then we shut the polls down, and then I have to print out the results, pull them out, and then have them pasted on the door. I have a team that helps me, a great team. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to pull this off. Then take all the ballots and all the compact flash cards and the printouts, the main printout, down to the county. And that takes me about 45 minutes to drive down there in the dark, late at night. I usually get home about 11:30 in the evening after all that. I don't know how it's going to be this time. And then I'm going to do a live broadcast at midnight on November 6th. So, after election's over, I'll come home, I'll sit here, we'll go through it, we'll take a look at what the results are, and we will see how unhappy people are or how happy they are. Michael, we don't really have poll watchers. Only one of the elections have had a poll watcher. The lady there's a process in Pennsylvania, Mike is aware of that. You have to actually go to the county and get certified to be a poll watcher. It doesn't really require anything. Every candidate can have, I think, like 2 poll watchers at each polling station, something like that. I don't remember the exact law, but I mean, we're going to get refresher trainings here shortly, so I'll know. But a lot of people come and say, I'm watching the polls for so-and-so, or I'm watching polls. And then they don't have any identification. So I'm not required to let those people observe anything. However, what I can do is I can allow official poll watchers to be stationed at the polling station, but they can't interfere with any of the election. So I've allowed people who were real poll watchers in the past to be there. Anyway, so there you go. Cape Town is a city. Okay. Rain all day in Derbyshire. Okay, Nick. All right. Hectic. Don't think people actually know what you do. No, they don't, Bernard, and they don't care. It's funny. So I have a top secret sensitive compartment information clearance facility still because of my trustworthiness. And I have people that run around this town and make all kinds of nonsense. I've heard people spread rumors. Like, number one, the rumors that I've quit. Well, I'm certainly feel motivated to quit. I'm not getting any I'm not reaching self-actualization by trying to do this, but leaders don't quit. They try to make things work. So that's the latest rumor going around. And the club manager told me that the other day, that several people have asked, I mean, why am I quitting as a commander? Well, it should be self-evident. The handful of people that actually support the place financially isn't keeping it going. And people can't afford to take money out of their pocket to keep a business going so that people can have inexpensive alcohol and cheap food. That's not the purpose of things. It's supposed to be to help veterans, their family, their survivors, and so on, and the community. So, no, I've heard nonsense. We had people run around their mouth who've been fired for misconduct, then contact the VFW at the state, the district, the national level, and make anonymous phone calls. They call the Liquor Control Board. They call the health inspector. They call everyone they can think of to make all kinds of nonsense claims. I had an employee who planted, well, I never found it. Anyway, drug paraphernalia was supposedly in the office, a common area, and that employee called the local police to blame the manager because that employee didn't like the manager, and that employee, the police asked about it, and the police said, well, there's nothing we really can do, and they didn't come out. I went in as soon as I found out about it and had the employee, I said, show me where it's at. It wasn't there because it was never there. It was all planted. It was all fake. And so this employee, as a federal law enforcement official with experience in criminal investigations, I actually investigated the situation over the weekend before I was supposed to fly to France for the Rugby World Cup. This is what I was doing. Spent time. I did a thorough investigation. I submitted the investigation to our district headquarters, and I shared it with my board members. We reached a conclusion. We took what action we could. And then while I'm out of the town in France, the district calls a meeting with my officers and doesn't inform me, and then falsely accuses my officers of not addressing that fake criminal situation. So that employee, I called the police. The police refused to come in. They said there was nothing they could do. There was no evidence. Anyway, so we deal with that, and then that employee gets sacked, not for that reason. Should have been, but I mean, we didn't fire for that person for that, for several reasons. But then their misconduct came later, a few weeks after that, about a month and a half after that, and that person was terminated. So that person runs around town. A person's never accomplished anything in their life and runs their mouth about everything. And then next thing I hear, we got a bartender who makes an anonymous call, who later admitted to it, who works for us, a bar manager, calls the state and says that the commander is a thief. He's stealing money. Okay, folks, I don't have access to the building where the veterans meet. I don't have a key as a commander. There's an office with a front office and behind it a second office. The front office is just, administrative stuff. The second office is where the cameras are, the computers are, where cash and, all that stuff. I don't have a key to that room. I don't know the combination to the safes where money is stored before it's taken to the bank every day. I don't go behind the bar where the till is at. Prove it. Prove it. Anyway, so it's thankless people. They're useless turds, the people like this. It's a shame because it's an organization that has existed for 78 years supporting veterans, and it's not going to survive because of these people. I've done everything under the sun and been sabotaged by the district, been sabotaged by the state, VFW, been sabotaged by the county. It's just, the list goes on. And for all that, I take abuse and get called names. And there's so much more I've done that can't even go into it. Can't even go into it right now. All right, so Bernard asked me that question, and I answered it. Where was that a long time ago? Where did that go? You guys have been chatting while I was telling that story. Where are we at here? North Carolina, precision, albedo, and what? Cycles, okay. Underseas Internet Data Store. What's this? Mike says, oh, it's worse than you're hearing, Mike. I can't even share all of it here on the line. Ronaldo gifted me the membership. He's sniping you. Ronaldo gifted you. Well, I don't think Ronaldo gifted you with a membership. It doesn't work that way, bystander. The way it works is that people buy memberships, and YouTube gives them out at random based on who's in the chat. The content creators and those who buy the gifted memberships have no say whatsoever. What's going on with regards to hurricane? Not good. Yes, Nick, going to talk about that. That comes a little bit later. Get through the South African news. USA election could still get, yep. No disrespect to anyone, but Chris is light years ahead in election. My girlfriend told me she has a PhD in math. Well, thank you for that, Garrett. Wow, hectic. Do you think people actually know what you do? No, they don't, and they don't care. They don't care. I talked to the state representative's office the other day, and the person there said, well, why don't you just leave? Why don't you just quit? I said, well, because it's a dumpster fire, and if I resign, then the police does close. They can't run it without the officer's position that I'm filling. The only reason I'm the commander is not because I'm popular, not because I'm successful. I'm certainly the second, maybe not the first, but because no one would do it. I was the senior vice commander. I started as the adjutant, appointed because a guy got sacked because he got in a bar fight, so he's kicked out of the officers' positions. Then there was an election. I was elected to the junior vice commander, which is the third in command. And then there was another election next year, and a few months later, and I became the senior vice commander, and I held that position for 2 years to help out the commander. I had no interest in doing anything more, just helping get along. And then the commander had enough of people attacking his family, his community, his business, and so he resigned he finished his term as commander. And I was nominated, and I said I'm not going to accept it. And people say, yeah, you are, yeah, you are. Well, no one else stepped forward. Someone had to do it, so I was nominated and I was elected. And then we just had another election, and I was nominated again. No one stepped forward, and so I'm there. Given the lack of interest by veterans across the board in contributing to veterans affairs and civic involvement, I have very little interest in doing this. I don't know really why I'm doing it. We've got some really abusive, nasty, disgusting, vile, unsuccessful, horrible, evil trolls who live in this town. That's not most people, but there's a handful of them that are just disgusting losers in life, and they take out their frustrations and lack of success in life by lying and spreading rumors and innuendo and acting like children. And it's really, anyway. All right. No, Bernard, people have no idea what I do. Same thing with election. We had a dirty, underhanded Republican Party precinct captains in this district when the 5 of us ran for the office. They had already pre-decided who they wanted to be the candidate, and that person was backed by a state representative who lied to us and other people. And so the 5 of us ran in good faith. 4 of us anyway. One of them knew he's the candidate was back. If they had just been honest with us when they interviewed us in January, I think that most of us would have dropped out of the race. I know one person dropped out, and I suspect that person was told the truth about what was going on, and now in retrospect, they were probably smart. Meantime, I spent thousands of dollars of my own money, knocked on 3,000 doors with a hip that was in agony and searing pain for most of the time walking up and down streets so that I could meet people and become their elected representative, all the while being undermined and sabotaged by another candidate and that candidate's acolytes and an elected member of the state legislature. All of that just horrific nonsense, and I learned a very painful lesson. People have no idea what I went through to try to get elected to office, how much money I spent, how much time I put into it, how much energy went into it, how honest I was, and my reward was to be stabbed in the back by the Republican Party, which is corrupt in this district. San Francisco were rubbing shoulders for the national title. Yeah, exactly, bystander. Read your post on the hurricane. Mind-blowing devastation. Oh, thank you, Nick. What else we got here? So, it's a little bit of cathartic release here. You guys are asking the questions. I didn't decide to talk about those things. Melbourne, because it was there years back. It was Australia. Just remember, the state only cares about vets when it's convenient. Yeah, you're right, Dylan. Sorry about the crap. Well, the state has nothing to do with the VFW. It's a private organization. The veterans are the ones who are letting us down. The veterans are the ones who don't show up. I mean, we have monthly meetings every second Thursday, and on a good meeting, we'll have a dozen people show up. We have 350 veterans who are members. Now, understand that probably about a third of those people are 70 or 80 years old. Don't expect them to come to meetings, but about half those people are under the age of 60, and they could come to the meetings, but they don't bother. So anyway. We get thunder outside at the moment. Oh, sorry, Charles. And what else got here? The VA is drama. Well, we're going to talk about the VA, I think, later on in this broadcast. Why they not tell you reference purposes? Oh, because the idea was to split the vote because the guy who won the nomination is a political chameleon. He'll say whatever he has to say, and a lot of people can see through that. But he was a high school teacher here in the place where the largest precinct in the entire voting district, which is where I'm the judge of elections. He was a high school teacher here for 20 years, and so he's educated kids for 20 years. And everyone talks about how popular he was, what a great teacher he is. Well, he's an advanced placement teacher. He doesn't teach the trouble students. He just teaches the ones who want to be there, and so they love him, apparently. And 20 years, and a lot of those kids are voting here now. They have families here, and so their parents are here. And so they figured they could draw on that base in the biggest part of the county, and then they could suppress the vote elsewhere, which is what they did. The turnout was abysmal, and he won the race by about 400 votes. But there were 5 of us in the race, and if the other 3 hadn't been in the race, the other candidate could have won potentially. Anyway, YouTube, we now deal with bubblegum idiots and spam. Yeah, you're right about that. Dylan says, sorry about your suffering. Oh, I'm not suffering. I'm just, look, this is life, folks. I mean, things are much worse. I've been shot at. I've been living in foxholes. I've lived in crap hole countries. Rentis Bossoff, a.k.a. will eat his own words. Sorry for asking this. Your life seems absolutely hectic. Are you married to kids? It just seems you're trying your best against brick wall. Well, Bernard, I never answer that question. People ask that, not recently, but ever since I started broadcasting, people want to know if I'm married, if I have kids. And my answer is, yeah. I have 16 wives and 42 children. in countries all across Africa. I've spread my seed all over the place, and this is why I need lobola, because I need lobola for the weddings of my offspring. Anyway, so I need you to super chat for the lobola, so please share that. No, listen, Bernard, we've talked about this. If I'm married or not married, that is a private matter. If I were married and had a spouse, it would be up to them whether they want to be in the public's eye or not. If I'm not married, then it's up to me to keep it to myself. I think I spent enough times hinting about meeting Burmese, so you can certainly figure out what my sexual orientation is. Anyway, I tell you, I watched that Bobby video, Dirk and Bobby video quite a bit. Those girls dancing on those picnic tables in them shorty shorts, shorty shorts. Yes, that's right. I am a colonizer, 42 children across multiple African countries. What's the story, Dr. Steve? Is he talking about ugly elections? Steve Turley? Is he talking about? It's okay to ask Bernard. Just the answer I give. Oh, Bernard, I am very busy. If you'll notice that last night I published my video after 2 a.m. local time. That's correct. And then the period from Thursday until Sunday, I pretty much got about 4 hours sleep total, including a whole 2 hours between the time I got my computer back home, set up after getting the cooling system repaired properly because I couldn't get the cables to work, so I had to get someone else to do it. Got a Marine to do it. And yeah, no, I bust my tail. I work hard. That's just funny. Ronaldo used to say, well, he's always, Chris Wyatt's retired. Well, it's be nice to be retired. Retired? Who's retired, man? You die when you're retired. I'm not dying. I'm living life. And there's a super chat from Erica. That's for the lobola. Thanks, Erica. Yep. I'm asking not for that. Just seems you're very busy. I'm very busy, Bernard. I'm always doing something. It's Burmese, then you're going to be categorized. Well, Chris, that's fine. That's fine. Listen, I've played, Sir. You know, you guys have heard me with Sir Mix-a-Lot quite a bit. I like big butts, and I gotta say, not true. Not true. Anyway, yeah. So back to the news. After all of that, Parks Tao has written an op-ed, and it's a message to the United States that South Africa is open for business. Hear ye, hear ye. South Africa is open for business. Come to our shores where we have racist legislation and you'll be forced to give up 30% of your equity to people based solely on their skin pigmentation, not their talent, not their contributions, not their capital, not their success or track record. You just give it up because they got a good tan. Well, that's the first calling sign. So there you go. Come. Give up your equity. Number one, oh, that's right, hire G4S because wherever you put your offices will be broken into, your employees' lives will be put in jeopardy, and if you have senior executives who drive around in BMWs, they'll be kidnapped. So hire G4S. On top of that, make sure you install 5 60-kilowatt generators on your property. Come up with storage tanks for the petrol because there won't be petrol when you need it, and there won't be electricity. So now you've got guards, you've got electricity. Oh, yes, that's right. We won't fix the road that comes to your building. You have to fix that road. So pay for your own infrastructure. Oh, and if you want to ship goods across the country of South Africa from your investment here, you will need to get truck drivers because the rails don't work. Oh, and God forbid you use a euphemism with the word M in it. You'll be called a racist, and you'll have to defend yourself against the captured South African Human Rights Commission. Ooh, look at all these lovely things. Let's not forget, if you want to get in the field of agriculture, only 12% of the land is arable. Oh, okay. What else? Other calling colleges to make South Africa such a lovely destination for foreign direct investment. Let me see. Oh, that's right. Our courts don't function. They're captured. So when someone robs from you and you want to seek redress on your employees, good luck with that. Good luck with that. Oh, and if you fire them, we have COSATU and all the other trade unions, which will bury you in court, and the government will do it on their behest. Other calling signs for South. Oh, yes, we have a corrupt president who hides money in the sofa. Yeah, it's called Palapala, Mynheer Palapala. We have a former health minister who profited from the COVID era by stealing money and directing contracts to Digital Vibes. We have a former mayor of eThekwini, Sandile Gumeda, facing 168 corruption counts and a court case that seems to never go anywhere. Oh, let's not forget this dude with the coolest name, Ace Magashule, accused of corruption in the Vreda dairy scandal, where the government took over a dairy farm and then stole all the money. Well, and then there's also the asbestos tender. Oh, and shall I continue all the wonderful things Parks tell about why people should come to South Africa? It's such a lovely destination. Oh, yeah, climate change. Oh, my goodness. Fun fact, all the colonel's children are born with thick, luxurious gray hair. Actually, no. A couple of girls born with blonde hair and hazel eyes, one with blue eyes, and all of them have lovely hair. Some straight, some curly. Hey, it just depends who you knock boots with, folks. It just depends who you're knocking boots with. Yes. All right. So, Parks Towel. This past week, I addressed the South Africa U.S. Business Forum at the New York Stock Exchange, held on the sidelines of the UN General Assembly. Standing alongside Cyril Ramaphosa and industry leaders, I was reminded of the vital partnership between South Africa and the U.S. and the immense potential we hold to drive mutual economic growth. Under Ramaphosa's leadership, South Africa has prioritized creating an environment in which investments can flourish. Our economic strategy is anchored on several key pillars aimed at building a resilient, inclusive economy for the future. Prioritize creating an environment in which investments can flourish. No, you've prioritized an economy in which caters can profit. That's what you've done. Just be honest. Oh my goodness, folks. Okay, sorry, we need to stop laughing and talk something serious now here. South Africans always come back, especially black supremacists attacking my videos. Well, pay attention to your own country and all your gun violence. Well, you know, it's time in South Africa to start paying attention to gun violence unpoliced areas of South Africa. And it's always black South Africans who take the brunt of this. Another person has died following the two mass shootings that took place in Lisikiki in the Eastern Cape at the start of the weekend. This is almost all the way over in KZN. 18 people dead. South African Police Service spokesperson Brigadier Athlenda Mate confirmed on Sunday that the person had died in hospital. No other developments, no suspects, no arrest. 2 families completely wiped out in that horrific shooting. Villagers reeling after slaughter in Lusisiki claims 18 lives. The devastating mass shooting which shocked the country almost wiped out the family of 3 siblings. Police have confirmed that the 18th victim has died in hospital yesterday. The family's 2 sisters, Mary Sinkina and Nancy Sinkina Matu, have been wiped out. Sinkina Matu, her children and grandchild, all died in the shooting. At her sister's home not far away, 13 people died. The Sinkina family spokesman said that he was disappointed there had been no arrest for earlier killings. This is disappointing. If police had made arrests in the 2023 killing, maybe we would not have had this massacre. We have 20 people who died in the name of Sinkina. The family is now almost wiped out. Wow. Horrible. Horrible situation. And it goes on and on. It's been picked up by the international media. I read about it on Voice of America before any South African media actually even reported on this tragedy. Manhunt after 18 people killed in African mass shooting. 2 homesteads on the same street in the town of Lisisiki in Eastern Cape were targeted with 12 women and 1 man killed in one location, 3 women and 1 man in the second location. 18th victim died on Sunday. Police Minister Senzo Mkhunu said the motive for the shooting was unknown. No suspects, no arrest. And a manhunt is underway, according to CNN, for 18 people now dead in a mass shooting. A team of detectives and forensic experts have been deployed to piece all evidence together in a bid to apprehend these brutish criminals. Wow. Well, specialist detectives are on the scene. Cyril Ramaphosa is charging in to save the day. If you're short money, just look in the sofa. You'll find some there. Yeah, Cyril Ramaphosa says specialists will be coming in. Special detectives to probe the Eastern Cape mass shootings, according to Cyril Palapala Ramaphosa. I feel deeply for all the families and members of the broader community affected by this attack, and on behalf of all of us as South Africans, I offer you our deepest sympathies. While we are united in our grief, we're also united in our outrage and condemnation of this excessive criminal assault, which will not go unpunished. Do you think it will not go unpunished? Please. They don't have the same energy finding the murderers of Brendan Horner or Edward Neumeister. No energy put into that whatsoever. It's because the victims matter. Because we can't have black people murdered in such large numbers. People will notice. Black people get murdered every day. The government doesn't care. But 18 black people murdered, well, now they care. They got to be seen doing something. A woman was killed after a car battery was thrown off an N3 bridge. This is insanity. This lovely grandmother was murdered. Peter Maritzburg businesswoman Madhu Bunware died when a car battery was thrown off a bridge on the N3 near the pavilion. Wow. 62-year-old was with her husband and 2 other relatives in the car traveling to their home in Peter Maritzburg after attending her uncle's funeral in Phoenix. And ZCM just gave £2 super chat. Thank you for that. Last day of the month, folks. Last chance to put some money in the till. Yeah, her uncle Roy Sukdev said it's double tragedy. We were dealing with the death of my brother, and now we have to contend with another death. That's just absolutely horrific. Who does this? This isn't funny. People throwing bricks and rocks off of bridges. They do it in Cape Town. Now they've done it here, and they've killed someone. I warned about it. Well, Similani, the Justice Minister, is in hot water here, man. Similani's VBS-linked coffee shop loan agreement appears to be backdated. So there is criminal activity here for sure then. Despite several requests, she so far failed to produce a copy of the loan agreement between her company and VBS fixer Raliom Razinwini's company for 575,000 Rand loan that she took in 2016. A copy of the loan agreement was obtained by journalists, and close examination of that document signed by Similani and Razinwani indicates that it was possibly backdated years after the money was paid. Why would they backdate the loan? Because it was a bribe? She's in hot water. The Gauteng government says 3.8 billion in tolls, the installment for the e-toll system, is being paid, and those who paid into the fund will not be refunded. Now, this is actually a lie. So, the Gauteng government has begun servicing its debt for now defunct e-toll system. The highly opposed system was shut down in April, leaving the provincial government with a debt, including a cumulative interest to the South African National Roads Agency. Gauteng Finance MEC Lobogang Maile told journalists on Monday paying off the historical debts would happen over 5 equal installments over the next 5 years. Interesting. So, Gauteng's debt is currently 20 billion. So where's that money going to come from to make these payments? He said regarding people who pay their e-toll bills in the past, they would not be refunded as the payments were made lawfully. When people paying e-tolls, it was legal as they were using the service. They'll not be paid back because it's not illegal and their money is not collected illegally. And I say, wrong. I hired vehicles after April in South Africa, went through those tolls, it beeped, and later on I was billed for the tolls. You are thieves, you are criminals. I was illegally billed for tolls after April of 2024. You are thieves. I want my money back. I want my money back. You are thieves. I was billed by the hire company because they were billed by Gauteng's e-toll system corrupt after April 1st. Give me my money back. Stop lying. I'm sure I'm not the only person who was defrauded by these corrupt criminals. Action SA's Michael Beaumont says they're threatening to quit the Tshwane coalition with the ANC and EFF. Wow. If the ANC goes ahead and fields its mayoral candidate in Tshwane, then it must be prepared to run a minority government without the support of Action SA. Well, Michael Beaumont, we both know that that's impossible because the ANC, you need 108 seats in the council in order to have a majority. Okay? The ANC has 75 seats. With the EFF, they don't have enough. They need other partners. The DA has 69 seats. With the Freedom Front Plus, they don't have enough. Action SA has 19 seats. They can dream on. These three parties are likely to field a candidate when the election takes place coming up, and we'll have a split vote, and nobody will become the mayor because you have to have a majority, not a plurality. Bernard says 80 murders a day, and Mr. Ramaphosa couldn't give a crap. Absolutely disgusting. War has less deaths. You're correct. We have fewer combat deaths in Iraq and Afghanistan at any point than what happens in South Africa. Yep. So don't have to pay e-toll more, but have to pay it off. We're still paying off e-tolls as taxpayers. Correct, Dylan. And in fact, the people who've never used the e-tolls are the ones paying for the e-tolls. Who came up with this idiotic system of purple lights that make me feel like I'm being irradiated every time I go under them? So now Action SA is all pissed because ANC is putting their candidate forward. Well, Dylan, watch my video. That's exactly what I said. That is exactly what I said. They're bumhurt because the ANC is betraying them. What do they expect? You have cyclists during bridges, rocks off bridge. That's a recurring problem in Seattle too. Apparently an irresistible drive in some. Yeah, I know. It's crazy. It's crazy. We've seen it in the States on occasion too. Well, the ANC's candidate is likely to be Kosi Mepa to be the next mayor, according to Business Day. This came out on Friday. Business Day understands the decision will be made next week by the ANC's top leaders on whether to confirm him as their mayoral candidate in Tshwane. 2 years left to the next election. The ANC is hoping to get in power. Well, And hold your breath on that. So, interesting article by Justice Malala, who's an interesting guy. He writes some decent stuff, but he gets a few things wrong. But other than that, pretty spot on. And I'm going to read to you a few comments out of this article by Justice Malala. This is also my video. You can go watch that. Where is this? Oh, I know. I closed it already. That's the problem. I'm looking for something. It's not there because I closed it. Where's it at? There you go. All right. Here, I found it now. That was odd. God bless. This stuff's there. So, this is what he had to say. He said that, come on, where's that? Action SA leader Herman Mashaba has been spewing a load of bull in his attempts to justify his decision to hitch his wagon to the ANC in Tshwane after years of telling us he would never touch the organization with a barge pole. Yep, well, that's what I've been saying too. So, Chris, are you aware of Jack Miller? Him and I went to school together. He wanted Cape. Yes, bystander. I've interviewed Jack Miller. I interviewed him in 2020. I've interviewed him, I think, 3 times. I've met Jack. During Election Day, I saw Jack when I was in South Africa covering the elections in May. I went to 14 polling stations, the Western Cape, starting in Somerset West, 5 in Khayelitsha in the Cape Flats, Monenberg, Rondebosch, Sea Point, Parklands, Tableview, a whole bunch of places. Yeah, I saw Jack that day at Rondebosch, if I remember correctly. Yep. People arrange for purple lights, and he told us might be the same folks who do intend to 80 the population. He's always been productive creative with his content, Michael. Who's that, me? My wife gets billed for her Jetta she sold 16 years ago. Her fake Cape Town registration is in a Hilux. Her car was written off and scrapped 12 years ago. I believe it, Richard. I believe it. What did Mike say? Cornelius Villers says Silius Brink was actually a very good mayor. I'm going to miss him. Yeah, he was a very good mayor, Cornelius. But it's and Justice Malala writes a good article talking about it. But he blames him for the failures in Hammanskraal, Soshanguve, and Mamelodi, which he's not responsible for. He says it's going back years now. Well, Silius Brink has not been the mayor for years. He's been the mayor for a little over 18 months. So, turning our attention to neighboring Mozambique with its election pending very soon. Botswana and Mozambique have elections coming up very soon. Who are the candidates? Well, who are the candidates? Daniel Chapo is a 47-year-old candidate from Frelimo, and he'll likely win the election because of the notoriety of Frelimo, even though nobody knows who he is. He was a TV and radio presenter and taught constitutional law at university. So, then we have Osofu Momade, a 63-year-old leader of the main opposition party, Renamo. He's unlikely to get elected because Renamo can't quite get past the threshold. They've gotten close once, but they're not going to get there. Then we have Venancio Mondlane. He's an independent candidate who was running under the Democratic Alliance Coalition, the CAD in Portuguese. That party was removed from the ballot by the Constitutional Council, excuse me. So he's running as an independent. And he's the most likely guy to actually win the election if it isn't Frelimo, or Renamo, Frelimo. And then we have Lutero Simango. He's a leader of the Mozambique Democratic Movement, the 3rd largest party, which was founded by his brother back in 2009. So they're unlikely to win. So it's probably going to be the Frelimo party once again. So Gabon has taken its claim for islands to the International Court of Justice. Now, this is an appropriate use of the International Court of Justice, much like Namibia and Botswana for Sududu Island in the Chobe River, much like Nigeria and Cameroon over the Bokassi Peninsula. These are things much like Southeast Asian nations going to the International Court of Justice over the Communist Chinese claiming the 9-dash line and the South China Sea, which was the verdict was against them. That's the purpose of the International Court, rendering disputes between states, not for the ANC to take money from Iran to file an illegitimate genocide case against Israel for its retaliation after an attack by Hamas. That is not legitimate use of the ICJ. So Gabon actually has a case there. So Equatorial Guinea says the claims in the islands, however, are untenable. Equatorial Guinea asked judges of the International Court of Justice on Monday to reject Gabon's claim to several islands and potentially oil-rich waters in the Gulf of Guinea. Both of these countries are oil producers. They've asked the UN's top court to settle a dispute centering on the tiny island of Mbambane, less than a kilometer long off the coast of Gabon. This conflict has been going on since 1972, and they've now taken to the ICJ, which is what the ICJ exists for, not for the ANC's self-pleasure. Kenya Lawmakers plan to impeach the deputy president because they don't like what he has to say. Kenya's deputy president, Gakuga, is facing impeachment. It's true there's an impeachment motion against the deputy president, and as a member of parliament for Kikiu, I have already appended my signature to it, said majority leader on Sunday. I'll support the impeachment motion to stop a process where government is being undermined and sabotaged from within government. Well, that doesn't sound good. Yeah. The World Bank has approved a $1.57 billion loan for Nigeria. Those evil white people giving Africans money again. Oh, they're just trying to make them debt slaves. That's what it's all about. Yep. The World Bank has approved $1.57 billion financing package for Nigeria under a new program to support its health and education. It's the largest lender in Nigeria with more than $15 billion in loans as of March. Those evil white people giving all this money to black people in Africa. It's just terrible. Someone needs to stop them. Israel Special Forces have gone in ahead of an attack, an expected ground invasion of Lebanon. Special Forces launched raids in Lebanon. Raids are aimed at gathering intelligence and probing Hezbollah's capabilities. The raids have included entering Hezbollah's tunnels located along the border. Recently occurred, as well as over the past months, part of a broader effort by Israel to degrade Hezbollah's capabilities. Wow, so things are getting crazier and crazier in the Middle East, folks. Israel's completely at war. Well, African countries now want to jump on the bandwagon and form groups for the scam to grift money from the West to protect their natural environment. It would be the role of governments in Africa to protect the patrimony, the heritage of Africans by protecting their natural environment, and I shouldn't be paying for that. That's your responsibility. The money you make off of tourism should cover that. But no, we're going to play this game again. At least 5 African countries are working on what could be the world's first joint debt for nature swap to raise $2 billion to protect coral-rich swath of Indian Ocean, according to a global conservation group. Those backing the broader Great Blue Wall Conservation Plan include Mauritius, Kenya, Madagascar, Mozambique, Seychelles, Somalia, South Africa, Tanzania, and the Comoros. Now, Ecuador, Barbados, Belize, Gabon, and Seychelles have all made such swaps in recent years, but the African initiative will be the first to involve multiple countries sharing a distinct ecosystem. Grifting, stealing money from people who have it because you won't protect your natural environment. Well, please spare me. Ladies and gentlemen, sad news if you ever watched the NBA back in the day, which I did until Jordan retired for the second time. But at the age of 58, the Congolese-born Dikembe Mutombo has passed away from brain cancer. This is sad. Sad. A top prospect when he went to Georgetown, he became an 8-time All-Star, served as the NBA's first global ambassador, and was inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. Dikembe Mutombo, a shot-blocking, finger-wagging basketball Hall of Famer who dominated on defense at Georgetown and in the NBA, turning opponents away from the rim while building an off-court legacy through his humanitarian work in Central Africa, died today. He was 58 years of age. The cause was brain cancer. A 7'2" center with size 22 sneakers and a gravelly basso profundo voice, Mr. Mutombo was an outsized presence in the NBA for 18 seasons, scooping up rebounds, swatting down opponent shots, and taunting competitors with his signature finger wag, like a teacher scolding a naughty schoolboy. By the time he retired in 2009, he blocked 3,289 shots, second in league history only to Hakeem Olajuwon. There's nobody else in our league who has the intimidating presence he has in the hole, said Golden State Warriors coach Don Nelson, describing him around 1994 interview with Sports Illustrated. He's one of a kind. Raised in the Democratic Republic of Congo, then known as Zaire, Mr. Mutombo spoke 9 languages, but he barely understood English or what his own defense was when he came to the United States in 1987 to study at Georgetown. He planned to pursue a career in medicine, but instead embraced basketball under coach John Thompson, who was known for cultivating tenacious, defense-minded men like Patrick Ewing. At his peak, he averaged 4.5 blocks a game. Wow. Dikembe Mutombo, gone at the age of 58. Folks, life is precious. You got to grasp that nettle. I don't care if it hurts. You got to make the most of life. Only those who've faced death truly appreciate this. I faced death in combat, and I stared it back in the face, and I survived, fortunately. Erica has had 2 strokes. The Right Reverend Rawhide had a stroke and was watching this program the same day in hospital on his mobile. You got to take life seriously, folks. You got to get the most out of it. Roger Abbott's backwards wrench says the expander says here to moderate. No, you're not. All right. What else? The people who are okay. I already saw that. I got an e-toll fine via the post. I've never been to Joburg since they have e-tolls. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Charles. It's all rip-off. I watch all of Chris's shows late, but I watch it, not the rugby, because I don't like it. My sons watch it. Well, thank you, Leah, for your sons watching, and thank you for watching all my content after the fact. I really appreciate that. The picture they sent me was a Baki-eyed stand. If they checked, they would have seen that. Yep. My Verizon phone doesn't work today. Did the Mossad get it? Oh, my goodness. What are your thoughts on the likelihood of World War III with escalating wars in the Middle East? If Kamala Harris becomes president, the inept foreign policy of the United States has floundered under for the last 4 years and much of the last dozen years will likely lead us to some sort of conflict. The U.S. is all but engaged in a conflict in the Middle East. We've put carriers in the Eastern Med. We've put combat troops in countries in the East, in the Middle East. We are all but involved in that war. It's pretty sad. Excuse me. If that's reported now, at what level? It's old news. Huh? The world is a mess. You're right, bystander. Did I cover the insane cement truck brakes falling in? No, I didn't see that story. Lebanon does have its own army. That's correct, African idiot. Wow, size 22 sneakers, such big socks must be hand-knitted. Yeah, no, Richard Kuhn, Dikembe Mutombo definitely made Africa proud. He was an interesting fellow. We all get caught up. We forget. Make it count. Thank you for the reminder. You're very welcome, bystander. Make it count, folks. Make it count. Well, the far right in Austria has won. Woo, baby. Oh, the leftists are going nuts. They have won. A new era with an election victory. The best coverage of this is in the BBC by Paul Kirby and Bethany Bell. Austria's far-right party, the FPO, the Freiheitspartei Österreich, has opened the door to a new era. Its leader, Herbert Kickl, told supporters as they celebrated an unprecedented election victory. Kickl's party won 29.1% of the vote, according to provisional results, almost 3 points ahead of the Conservative People's Party, the Österreichische Volkspartei, on 26.4%, but far short of the majority. But those two parties together would have over half the votes and can form a government. Turnout was high at 74.9%. The election was dominated by migration and asylum, as well as the economy floundering and the war in Ukraine. Postal votes are still being counted today, but analysis of voters suggests that those between age 35 and 59 were most likely to back the far right and marginally more women than men. So there you go, folks. There's the outcome. And there's a super chat from Nick Groves. It says, Measy few dollars say thank you for the videos you've done between 1 to 3 each time. Yes, I watch your clock and you're right. Yeah, people can see that, so I'm not faking it. Yep. Mike's out of here. Take care. Yeah, so look at this. The FPO and OVP right of center, that is 49.55.5% of the vote. And then you've got the socialist at 21% and the Greens at 8%. So that's not even 30% for these leftists. Kickl's party won 56 seats in the 183-seat parliament. Conservatives on 52, Social Democrats on 41. So that's 108 seats in 183-seat parliament. The Freedom Party's fiery leader had promised Austrians to build Fortress Austria to restore the security, prosperity, and peace. Yep, they want firm rules on immigration. Has promoted the idea of re-migration, which involves sending asylum seekers to the original countries. It also wants a bar on the right to asylum as a step towards citizenship. There you go. And now these people are upset because the FPO was founded by Nazis. The only possible coalition would be with the Conservatives. Yep. But the OFP will refuse to have Kickl as a chancellor, so they're going to have to work something out. Yep. Geert Wilders of the Freedom Party in Netherlands sent his congratulations. Yep. On Monday, Austrians had mixed feelings. I find it really sad that people get so close to radical right-wing ideas and ignore history. Nikolai Selenkowski, a resident of Vienna, which predominantly voted for the Social Democrats. And let me explain something, folks. Austria is Germanic. Yeah, there are a few Hungarians in the eastern side, and there are a few Slovenes in the south. But it's Germanic. They're Krauts. Nikolai Selenkowski, a resident of Vienna. Enough said. You're not German. You're not Austrian. Oh, my goodness. Österreich, driving them nuts, folks. Austria goes back to the future as voters embrace far-right party founded by Nazis. Yep. Graz. Austria veered to the right in a watershed election on Sunday as the far-right Freedom Party stormed to victory, marking the first time since World War II the party rooted in Nazi ideology has prevailed in the national ballot. The anti-migrant, Russia-friendly FPO won a record 29% of the vote, nearly doubling its count from the last election. Wow, putting it 3 points ahead of the center-right Austrian People's Party, which currently leads the government. The OFP suffered a record loss to finish with 26%. Well, folks, a party rooted in Nazi ideology. That's not Nazi ideology. Anti-migrant? That's not it. They're not migrants. They're criminal alien invaders. Make the distinction clear. Wow, where did everybody go? Just lost like 20 people. Britain is shutting down its final coal-fired power plant, ending a history of industrialization as the country folds up its tent and relies on begging. The Ratcliffe-on-Soar plant was the last surviving coal-burning power station in a country that birthed the Industrial Revolution and fed it with coal. That makes Britain first among the world's major industrialized economies to wean itself off coal, all the more symbolic because it was the first to burn tremendous amounts of it to fuel the Industrial Revolution, inspiring the rest of the world to follow suit. The birthplace of coal power is turning its back on coal forever, said Matt Webb. Yep. In the middle of England, the end of Britain's coal era will be marked by the closure of a 2-gigawatt Ratcliffe-on-Soar facility. Uniper, the power company that operated the plant, said the 750-acre site will be converted to a low-carbon energy hub. The closure comes 142 years after the world's first coal-burning power plant began producing electricity at the Holborn Viaduct in London in 1882. Well, here's the irony, folks. The United States is also down just 16% of its power coming from coal. But China and India are burning coal like there's no tomorrow. Like there's no tomorrow. Well, Norway is mulling putting up a fence. Yeah, that's right. More border controls. Building a fence on Russian border after Finland did the same thing. Norway may put a fence along part or all of its 198-kilometer border it shares with Russia, a move inspired by a similar project in its Nordic neighbor Finland. A border fence is very interesting, not only because it can act as a deterrent, but also because it contains sensors and technology that allow you to detect if people are moving close to the border. So Norway, building borders in Europe. Turning our attention to the United States, folks. Let me just see what's going on, where everybody went. Well, not everybody, but some people went. We dropped off precipitously here in the last... I wonder, is he online right now? Let me see. He is online. He's stealing my audience. Wow, stealing my audience. Okay, that's what happened. All right, well, there you go. All right, it's flash in the pan. They'll come back. Israel did not provoke the war, Jonathan DT. They did not provoke the war. Prove it. Prove how they provoked the war. Yeah, so the Anschluss was a brilliant move. Germans and Austrians go crazy for black magic, the rum flavor. Yeah, another busy day. 3 months left this year. We all get caught up. Yeah, okay, I already caught it there. Okay, so back to the news. So U.S. dock workers are set to go on strike, and it's going to be disastrous for the United States, costing as much as $5 billion per day. 45,000 dock workers, and they want 77% pay rise. Are you high? Do people not get that these pay raises are what fuel inflation? You get more. You get 77% more money, and my goods go up by 77%. What a bunch of greedy bastards! Dock workers preparing to strike at midnight across dozens of ports from Maine to Texas, threatening to block the movement of U.S. trade and rattle the American economy 5 weeks ahead of the presidential election. 45,000 dock workers pushing for a 77% pay raise. The effects have already begun, said Tim Ryan, owner of Square One Farms in Florida-based importer that sells asparagus to supermarkets like Walmart, Kroger, and Wegmans. He'll fly 150,000 pounds of asparagus from Peru this week that would usually arrive by ocean at Florida's Port of Miami. That will add 50 cents a pound to the prices he charges. JP Morgan analyst estimates support strikes would cost the U.S. economy between $3.8 and $4.5 billion. I estimate $5 billion. International Longshoremen's Association, which represents 45,000 dock workers, is threatening to shut down some of the country's main gateways for imports of food, vehicles, heavy machinery, construction materials, chemicals, furniture, clothes, and toys. In the first 7 months of this year, the ports handled 74% of the country's wine imports, 75% of banana, 89% salt used for chemical manufacturing. I'll tell you what, we'll do without imported wine, and this strike will hurt South Africans too, because we won't be buying your wine. Ladies and gentlemen, another reason you cannot trust government and government workers because they steal your personal data. I personally was a victim of identity theft because somebody in the government, either in the military or civilian, compromised my personal data, and it was sold to a broker to start a credit card account. This is about 8 years ago. Fortunately, I monitor my credit all the time. I monitor my credit cards, my bank accounts almost on a daily basis. And I caught this within 18 hours of it happening. And so I was able to put a stop on it. But this is what happens with government employees, thieves, and criminals. Some, most aren't. But the vice presidential candidates have had their medical records illegally viewed by members of the Veterans Administration. At least a dozen VA employees improperly accessed the medical records of vice presidential nominees J.D. Vance and Tim Walz this summer. We also previously saw how a contractor illegally exposed the tax records of Donald Trump, a federal felony, and the media published it irresponsibly. At least a dozen employees of the Department of Veterans Affairs improperly accessed the medical records of vice presidential nominees J.D. Vance and Tim Walz. The investigators found in a violation of federal health policy laws that are under criminal investigation. VA officials notified Vance and Walz campaigns about the breaches after discovering the unauthorized viewing by employees at the agency's massive health care arm. Investigators are trying to determine whether their health records have been shared as a result of the breach. The motives are under investigation. Law enforcement is on the scene. Well, don't I feel better? Law enforcement is on the scene. North Carolina, remnants of Helene are creating an unprecedented tragedy. Thousands of people struggle to cope without basic necessities. The overall death toll for the storm surpassed 100. When asked about helping people, Joe Biden said, "We've done all we can." Meanwhile, in other news, Joe Biden has given Ukraine $250 billion to prosecute a war to cover up his criminal activities in Ukraine. And we have no money for people who just lost their homes. Yeah. Well, so much for Americans. Don't give a flying flip about us. The deadly storm destroyed towns, cut off communities from cell phone service and power. Raging floods and mudslides unleashed by the remnants of Hurricane Helene have dealt an unprecedented tragedy in the mountains of western North Carolina, leaving at least 37 people dead in the region and communities struggling to cope without food, water, power, gasoline, or cell phone service. The number of people without power is down to 460,000. It had been 2.3 million. Infrastructure has crumbled. Look at this container on top of a bridge. Damage to a bridge in Asheville. Remnants of Hurricane Helene significantly damaged infrastructure throughout North Carolina's western region. Somebody said I was trying to get home, but I have no gas. Wow. Unaccounted people has dropped from over 1,000 to just 600 people unaccounted for now. The death toll continues to rise. This is Asheville, people standing in line to get into a grocery store. "I ate my last bit of food today," said Skywin, a 30-year-old, told his mother over the phone. Probably not what you wanted to hear, huh? He lives in his van. He said he only had a $20 bill with him. Wow, that's horrible. That's horrible, folks, what's happening for there. So completely and entirely erased. How Helene swallowed one mountain town. Scenes of devastation, destruction, suffering lay almost everywhere in Tshwane, North Carolina. Cars in tree limbs, mangled homes, mud-choked roads, and people desperate for water and food. Volunteers gathered to distribute water outside the First Baptist Church in the town. No services were held on Sunday. Here, Joe Dancy and Jenna Shaw stand in front of their home. Mud and water all over the place. Fingerprints on the windowsill. The mud levels. Muddy fingerprints left the windowsill of Dancy and Shaw's home. The pair had to escape rising waters through their bedroom window. Dancy and a friend embrace. Melanie Dowdy hands out bottles of water to the First Baptist Church. And here you can see the mud. There's somebody's water heater sitting there. Good Lord. Cars upside down, washed around. This is insane. Car is trapped in rubble. Look at all that rubble. Good Lord. Sad, horrific what's happened to folks. Really sad. With your flippant political point of view, people may worry what people think if they were to share, just a factor which is out of your control, freedom of speech. My flippant political point of view? What do you mean by that? I have a very considered point of view. I don't understand what you're getting at, bystander. Only way their wages will rise. Yep. What is the pay rise? Haven't seen one in 11 years. Oh, hell. Hope the SA unions don't see the dock workers strike. Our docks are as bad as it is. Yep. Mistakes. My daughter's birth certificate. One. Her father born in 1861. That's crazy, Nick. Well, at 100 years of age, James Earl Carter is having his legacy reassessed. Here he is with Menachem Begin and Anwar Sadat, two people who long ago passed. Sadat assassinated, Menachem Begin passed away. When he returned to Plains, Georgia in 1981, President Carter was defeated, rejected by voters in a landslide election to Republican Ronald Reagan. In office, he was a political failure. He lost overwhelmingly to Reagan, but he was a substantive and visionary success, says author and historian Jonathan Alter, who recognized what many know Carter for today: humanitarian work with his Carter Center, while in Habitat for Humanity, waging peace, fighting disease, and building hope around the world that led to Carter receiving the 2002 Nobel Peace Prize. So he left office in 1981. So that's 19 and 24. It's 45 years ago since he was last president. Wow. Yep. Well, here's some interesting stats here, folks. For those of you who hung around, you're going to be rewarded here. The people who betrayed me and went to Ronaldo, too bad for them. Too bad for them. Shame they went over there. I know some of you don't like Ronaldo, but those who betrayed me because Ronaldo's intruding in my time, enjoy your broadcasts. Have fun over there. So 2 things from Wall Street Journal, very interesting here about America. So watch this graph as I run through it. Americans are more reliant than ever on government aid. Now, this is dishonest in one respect for the Wall Street Journal. Social Security is not government aid. Social Security is paid out by the government, but it's after they steal money from us in taxes under the fraudulent scam that we're paying into a retirement fund. So it's money we're owed. It's not aid. It's money we're owed. Most of us contribute to Social Security and therefore are entitled to get a payment out of a fund we paid into. That's not aid. Veterans who are getting disability payments, that's not aid. That's recompense for the loss you suffered. The government is on the hook, like an insurance company. They're on the hook. So that's not aid. Welfare, that's aid. All right, so let's talk about this chart, and you'll see how things have changed. You'll see how things have changed. Americans are more reliant than ever on government aid. An aging population, economic distress, raised dependence on federal and state support. Here's why it matters for the election. Okay, so this is the country wasn't always reliant on government support. In 1970, government safety net money accounted for significant income in fewer than 1% of American counties. So this is based on county data, county level data. So on this map that you see here, the lightest gray means that less than 15% of people relied on the government for a significant portion of their income. What's a significant portion? 20%, 40%, 50%? Anyway, in other words, that's 15%. 15 to 25% is a slightly darker gray, and then the yellow color there is over a quarter of the population relied on the government for its income. You can see that it's concentrated in Appalachia, from West Virginia down through Oklahoma, and a little bit out in Colorado, and those are Indian reservations out there. All right, so as America's population aged, more counties came to count on this government-backed for a significant share of their income. By 2000, roughly 1 in 10 counties drew a significant share of their income from federal and state safety net and social programs. All right, so look at that. That's 2000. So from 1970, 30 years later, this is where money from the government's pouring in. Of course, it's money out of my pocket. And by 2022, 53% or more than half of all U.S. counties drew at least a quarter of their income from government aid. So what they're saying is that the residents in 53% of the counties in the country get a quarter or get a significant amount of their income from the government. Yeah. So the problem with that, folks, is, let me explain this. The reason I say this is a problem because this analysis says the analysis includes unemployment benefit, unemployment insurance. Well, that's not aid. Unemployment insurance is paid into, so that's not aid. Food stamps, that is aid. Earned income tax credit, that is aid. Veterans benefits, not aid. That is recompense. Pell Grants, that is aid. That's education grants. COVID era payments, that was aid, and other income support. States help pay for some of these programs, such as Medicaid, but the federal government covers 70% of the total cost. Yeah, so that's not exactly honest. Yep. And this is how they're trying to say how the thing is going to go. So counties with significant government assistance each year. In 2000, there were about 350, and almost even Democrat, Republican counties. By 2020, there were almost 2,000, and the vast majority of them were Republican counties. So I don't really understand what that chart's trying to tell us. But yeah, that's a very interesting chart. So those of you hung around, that's a good reward for that. And I got another one for you, which is even more interesting. So I've been talking about people causing my insurance to go up by living in dangerous areas. Yep. Decorated chopper pilot in Vietnam. Who's that? So, try to get Americans a metric system. Oh, I remember. We don't do it. 40,000 people without power. ANC 60 million without power for years. Yep. Arctic says Ronaldo's a good interviewer, but his regular shows complaining about Southern politics isn't my thing. Okay. I feel for the American soldiers is definitely not compensated. Oh, well, it depends on how you look at that, Debbie. But yeah, there's some truth to that. Mark Sayre says Sunday morning coming down. Huh? Decorated chopper pilot in Vietnam. I have no idea what you guys are talking about there. Okay, back to the news. The last chart I want to show you here is an interesting one. So this is, I've complained about people living in the hurricane path in Florida, building their McMansions along the coast in unviable places, and then my insurance rates going up as a consequence. We'll take a look at this. Now, this chart, yeah, you have to break the analysis down, but I mean, it's a reasonable one to take a look at. So Wall Street Journal says, where Americans have been moving to in disaster-prone areas. These counties regularly hit by hurricanes face major wildfires, hurricanes, or floods, and swelter under punishing heat. So here you go. High-risk counties, okay? All the ones that are hash marked in there. So that's a significant portion. You look in Pennsylvania, where I'm at, nothing. Nothing going on here. Same in Ohio, almost nothing going on in Ohio. All right, so, but they don't mention earthquakes. All right, now look at this. Watch what happens. For 2 decades, people have been moving to some of the most popular places. And people are moving into these greens. So watch, there's the most dangerous places for natural disasters. And look where the people are moving. Almost entirely into the places where there's bad weather, hurricanes, earthquakes, forest fires. Look at that. Atlanta, Charlotte, D.C., Northern Virginia, Florida, Texas, Arizona, Las Vegas, California. That's where they've all been moving. And they're moving right into the path of danger. Now, there's also a few spots in Pennsylvania where people have been moving. It's a migration away from New York and New Jersey and D.C. up here. We have got a bunch of that right here, but we're not prone to those natural disasters. That's pretty entertaining, don't you think? Look at that. And this is where people are leaving. They're leaving these places. They're moving here. That's where they're moving. And that's where they're leaving. You can see the two laying over top of each other. People are banning Miami big time. So there you go. That's interesting, eh? Fascinating graphic, I thought. So Florida, which regularly gets raked by hurricanes, gained millions of new residents between 2000 and 2023. Phoenix has been one of the country's fastest growing large cities. It's also one of the hottest, registering 100 straight days with temperatures above 100 degrees this year. Fire-prone foothills of California, Sierra Nevada have seen an influx of people even as wildfires in the region became more frequent and severe. East Texas metro areas like Houston, Austin, Dallas have ballooned in recent decades despite each being at high risk. Yep. So there you go, folks. I thought that was fascinating. What do you guys think? Where do you go? Oh, here we go. Well, this is another one here. Well, check this out. This is a graphic. I didn't even look at this one. The Carolinas and Florida, more people in the hurricane's path. So 1 dot equals 10 moves in, and orange equals 10 moves out. So here, let's take a look at this one. This is interesting. So that's the East Coast, and we've got Charleston, South Carolina, Savannah, Georgia, Jacksonville, Florida. You can see people are flocking to risky coastal areas. Myrtle Beach, look at that. Charleston, Savannah, Jacksonville, Daytona Beach, Tampa. Look at all those people moving in. And they're banning Miami. Look at that. They're all leaving Miami. Tampa has been one of the fastest growing in the entire country. Look at that. Crazy. People moving in. Augusta, Georgia's got a lot of people moving. High heat risk. High hurricane wind risk. Fools. Fools, fools, fools. I don't live in those places. Florida does nothing for me. Does absolutely nothing for me. Wow, people still abandoning us. Well, have fun over there at the Ronaldo show. Yeah. So, I mean, Big Havana. Miami is it? Yeah, Miami's sucky town. I agree. I agree, Arctic. Don't care for it at all. Yep. Remember 1988 arriving in Miami and getting given a hurricane shopping list. It's like, what? Swear I'd never live in a country that had tornadoes, hurricanes, or volcanoes. Well, we don't have hurricanes here. and we don't have tornadoes here, and we don't have earthquakes here, and we don't have any real problem with forest fires. We just have corrupt leftist politicians that we got to get rid of. Yeah, folks, I didn't plan on living in Pennsylvania. This was just happenstance. I had lived in Pennsylvania for a couple years when I was a kid in Scranton. Growing up was part of my experience. J'ai grandi au Pennsylvanie. Yeah, so I'm here because the Army sent me from Ethiopia to teach at the War College and be a professor there. And so I was Director of African Studies, and that's why I wound up at the Army War College. I planned on staying here for a year, working out a plan on how to sell my house or maybe keep it, and then move to Bavaria. Aschau and Chiemgau was one of the places I wanted to live, or potentially Garmisch. Now, irony is that in the year 1997, I went to Garmisch, and I had a chance to buy a efficiency apartment there for, I think it was around 240,000 marks, something like that. Whatever it was about $200,000 US, and I didn't buy it. I wish I had. I wish I had bought it, but I didn't buy it because I didn't want to spend that money. So, yeah, but the behavior of the German government in the lockdown convinced me that they're a bunch of fascist, anti-liberty scumbags, and I didn't really want to live in Germany as a foreign national who's white, who's not favored. If I was black or Arab, if I molested German women, then the government would protect me. But as a descendant of Germans living in Germany, I'd be taxed to death, and who knows how I'd be treated. So Germany fell off my list pretty quickly when I saw their fascist behavior under the right-wing Nazi government of Angela Merkel. Actually, a left-wing government under Angela Merkel, pretending to be right. And the other place I intended to live was in New Zealand, potentially in Wellington. I thought about living in Wellington, New Zealand, or maybe even Auckland, but I prefer Wellington. But the problem was that Jacinda Ardern exposed just what communist, fascist, totalitarian, liberty-pressing wackadoodles that the New Zealanders are. So both those countries became unviable. Now, having said that, it's not as if the United States was much better in its conduct. The country was okay, but under Donald Trump, but not perfect. But the states were out of control. El Duce himself, fascist governor, Tom Wolfe, Democrat, demon rat from Pennsylvania, destroyed liberty in this. And that's one of the reasons why I'm in trouble with the VFW, is that we were forced to close for months. No one can come in during the pandemic fraud. And we still had a mortgage payment of $7,800. We still had to pay insurance. We still had to pay for power. We still had to pay for all these things. At fixed costs, probably in the order of about $20,000 per month. So 400,000 Rand per month had to be paid with no income because we were illegally shut down. Yeah, and so that's one of the problems we have. They built up tons of debt. They went through all the cash reserves, and then we reopened, and we've been dealing with that mess ever since. We have space for you in Namaqualand. Okay. Streisand, A Star is Born with Chris Christopherson. What about it, Keith? Start a fire in the fireplace. Okay, that's good to hear because it's raining there. Far right is winning in Austria. People are a hut full of people-pleasing left-wing coup. Well, but the problem is that the people on the right need to get over 50%, so they don't have to rely on these coalitions. New Zealand looked really good, but no money to make the move. Charles, I could move to New Zealand, but it doesn't look really good. They're untrustworthy. It's a lovely country. But the Kiwis, some of them are really cool. Some of them are just a bunch of leftist wackadoodles. So, for instance, I collaborate with a New Zealander who is honest and good guy, but his leftist ideas are, we can't talk politics. And I've had him on the program before because he gets off the deep end. People on the political left just go off the deep end. They really do. They find something they dislike about somebody who's right or right-wing, and they just run with it. And they don't care what the truth is. They don't care about the facts. So for instance, Kamala Harris, oh, she's wonderful. She's a prosecutor. There's no evidence she's ever prosecuted a single case as the district attorney in San Francisco or as the attorney general as lead counsel for California. Ever. Yet she keeps talking about how she prosecuted against transnational crimes groups. She didn't do anything. She's a political figurehead who's never accomplished anything in her life. And she's also for fracking. No, she's against fracking. Make up your mind, sweetheart. What did bystanders say? What did bystanders say? I keep saying no more words. I have children, so it's really child-friendly. Don't care for politics. Well, you'll care for the politics when they arrest you for your speech, Charles. You'll care for the politics when you lose your job because someone dropped dimes on you claiming you were this or that or the other. Yeah. Michael Holmes, America is one of the most right-wing ideologically. The Republicans are batshit crazy, especially evangelicals, neoliberal war hawks. Right-wing. Are you serious? Are you serious? Right-wing. What is right-wing in this document? Michael Holmes, what is right-wing in this document? Nothing. Nothing. The Bill of Rights, the Constitution, there's nothing right-wing. There's nothing right of center. This is a classical liberal document, the Constitution of the United States. Right-wing. You are crazy, man. You stop drinking the coffee, Michael. You actually asked a bunch of good questions today, but then you come here and act like a fool with this. Republicans are bat crap crazy. Republicans are bat crap crazy? Really? How are Republicans bat crap crazy? Where did his message go? It just disappeared. Ooh, now I'm starting to wonder if Michael doesn't work for YouTube. Oh, might have exposed yourself there, Michael Holmes. Is Michael Holmes a YouTube plant? Because Michael Holmes' comment was here. I saw it, and it just disappeared. It wasn't deleted by a moderator. It doesn't show up in my studio. It's as if he never made the comment. When someone deletes their comment or YouTube removes it, I can see it. Wow, Michael Holmes, are you a YouTube plant? Have you exposed yourself? Wow, that's interesting, folks. What's going on here? Mods, look in your chat. You're not gonna see Michael's comments. I can't see it removed. It just disappeared as I was reading it. Oh, there he is. The left wing in the U.S. is center right to the rest of the world. No, it's not. No, it's not, Michael. The left wing. The Democrats are calling for no free speech. In fact, let me pull this up. You're calling this center right? Oh, this is comical. Let me get this, Michael. Okay.
And I think the dislike of and anguish over social media is just growing and growing and growing.
Oh, he's upset about social media because they can't control the narrative anymore. At least they keep trying to work really hard. Yeah, I don't see his message retracted anywhere. So that's John Kerry. Let me jump ahead to the spot where I think he says what I want to hear what he has to say. I don't know if I went too far.
Much harder to build consensus.
There you go. This is what you want to hear. This is center-right. This is a left-wing Democrat, a wackadoodle, John Kerry, a stolen valor Vietnam veteran fraud. Yeah, he went to Vietnam, but what he claimed he did there is fraudulent, and then he disgraced the country. But here, this is John Kerry in his own words at the World Economic Forum.
Today than at any time in the 45, 50 years I've been involved in this. And you know, there's a lot of discussion now about how you curb those entities
a lot of discussion about how you curb those entities. Those entities are media houses and or social media contributors. So he's talking about how do you control what people say. This is not center-right. This is not center-right.
In order to guarantee that you're going to have, you know, some accountability on facts, et cetera. But look, if people go to only one source and the source they go to is sick, and
if people only go to one source. Now, what he doesn't mean the truth. That's actually a true statement. If the only place you go is a place that's dishonest or misleading or spreads false information, that's a problem. But of course, he's not talking about the real purveyors of lies. ABC, CBS, NBC, CNN, Fox News, Voice of America sometimes, Al Jazeera when it's talking about the U.S. and the Middle East, Times Live, News 24, Daily Maverick, SABC, ENCA, Newsroom Africa. These are the purveyors. He's not talking about them. He's talking about you and me.
You know, has an agenda, and they're putting out disinformation. Our First Amendment stands as a major block to the ability to be able to just, you know, hammer it out of existence. So,
our First Amendment stands as a major block to hammer it out of existence. So he thinks that he has a right to censor what you say and what I say. Not in this country. Yeah, Newsmax is another biased one. Yes, you're right, Michael. Your left wing compared to our left wing in South Africa is miles apart. I don't think so. We were, Michael. We were. 20 years ago, there was a huge chasm between the left in South Africa and the left in the United States. But there has been a convergence of left-wing wackadoodles. They're coming together. I mean, we've got people in this country talking about reparations. By whom? For what? Reparations for what? For slavery? Well, then I want reparations for my Irish ancestors who were enslaved in the Caribbean by the English. Will the Icelanders get reparations from the Barbary pirates in North Africa who imprisoned their Icelanders as slaves and concubines? Castrated them in? Will the Christians get compensated by Saladin and his descendants for the enslavement of Christians? Will Russians be compensated for being enslaved by the Vikings? Will peoples all over the Mediterranean be compensated? Where is that super chat? Why is it not coming up? Boy, YouTube is playing some games here. There's a big super chat came up from African Idiot, and it's not coming up. Well, who will be compensated? Why do I have to pay compensation for an event that ended by the people? But see, here's the thing. I have 8 great-great-grandfathers. 8. Okay? We all have 8. Unless their brothers are sleeping with their sisters. I have 8 great-grandfathers. 7 of them fought in the Civil War. I have documented evidence that can show who they were, who they fought for, including William Bear Grimes and his brother Ephraim Grimes, who fought for the Maryland 7th Infantry Regiment. Where's my recompense? The sacrifices they made. One of my ancestors, Charles Coleman, was imprisoned at Andersonville, a horrific prisoner of war camp in which many people died. Where's his compensation? This is idiotic. It's idiotic. But that's what they want in South Africa. That's what they want here. South Africa, fees must fall. Here in America, well, student loans must be forgiven. It's the same damn thing, Michael. It's the same thing. Giving away other people's success and robbing us of our potential for growth. Jaya says, random question. What are your thoughts on national service? I was debating this with a few friends over the weekend here in UK, and most were against it. I oppose it. I don't think the state has a claim to your life. It's wrong. It's wrong. That's monarchical. That's what that is. No, thank you. No, thank you. Yeah, Andersonville, where my ancestor was in prison there. He got scurvy. Yep. Yeah. Bernie Sanders and AOC are basically most of the center right. Oh, good God. All right, Mike. You can keep believing that, Mike. That's funny. Yeah. I don't know why African Idiot's first super chat is not showing up, so I'm going to ring for that anyway. Watch it come up. African Idiot gave 140 Rand super chat. Thank you for that. Yeah, I got the 140 Rand, but it didn't show up on my screen. I didn't hear it, so I was waiting for it to ring the bell when it came up on my screen. Anyway, thank you for that, African Idiot. Wow, that's going to help a little bit. Let me take a look and see. I think we're just barely above last month's revenue generation for... I'll get back to the stories in a moment. Revenue, let's see. We're slightly ahead of last month, so today's super chats will help a little bit for that. Thank you very much. Hopefully the ad revenue. Oh, we're at 18,975, almost getting up to 19,000. So close. You know, it sucks because if we were on the rugby broadcast, we have lots of people just tuning in the rugby, never been there before, and I have a good chance of getting new subscribers. But here, it's my regular audience, and we're not going to get anything new because you're all subscribed. Probably almost nobody new watching this. So let me see something here real quick. Just trying to reload this page. All right, cool. Right. Anyway, so from my experience, lefties are sold out to communistic ideals. Counterproposal: you give 10-year service and you never pay tax again. No, I don't agree. I don't agree. Because they'll just take it back eventually. Yeah, so back to your question, Jay. I don't support it. I don't think states have a right. We're not property. We form governments to represent our common needs, like defense, mutual needs. That's why we do it, because in numbers and strength, we're stronger. Okay, we work together. If it's just me fighting the 5 horde barbarians over here, I'm at a big loss. I'm not Steven Seagal. I can't take out 5 barbarians. But 5 of us against 5 barbarians, and we can defend ourselves. No national service. I strongly disagree with it. Number one, you get people who aren't really fit for service, who don't do it for the proper reasons. I prefer, and I think you're also talking about, working in hospitals or working in national parks. No. We're not slaves to the state. I don't agree with that at all. We're not slaves to the state. National service should not be a thing. Voluntary service can be a thing. Yep. Does that answer your question, Jaya? Counterproposal. Okay. My fing ears. What's that? Spent too much time in the cockpit. Arctic. What's your take this year on elected Iranian president who's allegedly a reformist? I think we have to wait and see on him. In that system, I don't care if you're a reformist, you really can't reform the system. It's a theocratic, authoritarian, anti-women, misogynist, horrific, fascist government. That's what it is. That's what it is. It's a fascist government of theocrats. And a reformist president, good luck with that. That's my opinion on that, Michael. We have to wait and see. I seriously doubt that Iran is going to change anytime soon short of open conflict. That's the only way it's going to change. People overthrow the government at some point. When the aliens come, ask me to take them to my leader. Can I make them subscribe? Sure, Dylan. That's right. When the Alpha Centaurians show up, tell them to subscribe. We were classified it when it came to national service. G1K1 was in good physical and mental condition. Well, only 18% of 18-year-olds in this country are fit to qualify for military service. So that's already a problem. The new plane doesn't have a bell. It just tells them what's wrong. Okay. What I love most about this current chat, says Garrett, is how to separate the hue. Wow, I'm amped with smart people. All right, cool. Anyway, so there you have it, folks. I mean, that's 109 likes, about $17 of super chat revenue. That's a couple of these anyway. Thank you for that, folks. Look, it's been a fun Monday. I oppose your national service. You woke teens need to learn about clean their boots, shower every day, and stop eating Blade Doritos. Well, that actually can be accomplished, Nick, with voluntary organizations like the Boy Scouts, which have been destroyed. There's a reason why there were Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts, and the leftists destroyed the Boy Scouts, as well as the predatory homo predators. Let's just say that, okay? We have a whole raft of cases of sexual abuse of minors by people in the Boy Scouts, just like the Catholic clergy, which is unfortunate. That damaged it. Between that and then moving the lawsuits by women to be included in the Boy Scouts because their penis envy, literally, is what drove them to bankruptcy. The Boy Scouts of America filed for bankruptcy. It's now the Scouts of America. And they have boys separate from girls, but they've destroyed the brand. If I had kids that were aged to go to the Boy Scouts, I wouldn't send them there. There's alternatives. Christian organizations, among others, are creating alternatives to the Boy Scouts. Robert Baden-Powell, who was in South Africa, would be spinning in his grave if he saw what happened to the Boy Scouts. It's a disgrace. But we have the Cub Scouts, the Webelos, and the Boy Scouts, and there's other groups out there. The Girl Scouts have the Brownies, the Campfire Girls, and the Girl Scouts. The problem is that the women lied. They said that it's unfair that men get an advantage when they apply for jobs because they were in the Boy Scouts and they win an Eagle Scout badge. Well, the answer to the Eagle Scout badge is for women to create an award just as prestigious as that. Because here's the bottom line. While girls are now in the Boy Scouts, there are no boys in the Girl Scouts. There are no boys in the Campfire Girls. There are no boys in any of the female organizations, and they shouldn't be there. There's a reason for raising young boys and young girls separately when it comes to things. There's a reason why Black African groups in South Africa have initiation rights for males. Part of what's going on here is to teach people to be responsible, and that is the responsibility of parents. That's the responsibility of private civic organizations. As a kid, I was a Cub Scout, a Webelo. I was in the Civil Air Patrol. I learned to march. I learned to brush my boots. I learned discipline. I learned how to salute. I learned how to respect elders and seniors, superiors. And I learned life skills, and I learned responsibility. I was also in 4-H. All of those were things that affected and informed and part of my inculcation to be a responsible adult. 4-H, Cub Scouts, Webelos, Civil Air Patrol. And I also participated in organized sports in high school, tennis, and baseball. So there you go. That's what I had, Nick. I didn't need the military to be a responsible adult. It certainly didn't hurt, but it wasn't necessary. Michael, you're correct, but that really doesn't change anything. Donald Trump came into a system that was corrupt. He promised to drain the swamp, and he spent 4 years fighting everyone coming from every direction and couldn't drain the swamp because the system is corrupt. Yep. Ronaldo wants to bring Disney to need innovation. You don't need Disney. They're evil. And I'm a shareholder. There's a guy who got to standard 5 in school but was a farmer's son who could farm. They sent him home. No idea what you're talking about there. Christianity is right-wing, in my opinion, says Jonathan. I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure about that. Allowing the limited vote was a left-wing idea, says Jonathan. Huge mistake. Well, it's definitely a left-to-center idea. It's a liberal idea. People stop sending their kids to scouts. Yeah, especially in South Africa. Yeah, they've destroyed it. We lost Disney in 2008. We used to warehouse them when I worked for independent media. Okay. So glad I didn't come from a culture when granny and aunties have to tell my bride how to screw me in bed and out of money. You talk about initiation rites for women. Where's the line which Israel will pass to being unacceptable behavior? Well, I mean, there are lines. I mean, if the Israelis actually commit atrocities, I mean, if Israeli troops round up children and execute them on a playground, if Israeli troops gas people with gas weapons, if Israeli troops use weapons of mass destruction against civilians, if Israeli troops, there's a number of lines that could be crossed. I mean, who wants to even imagine such things? I don't envision Israel doing that. But does that answer your question, Michael? Yeah. Look, I call out people, whether I like them or dislike them, when they're wrong. I called Trump out multiple times when he's president. Where's my damn wall? Why weren't any criminal alien invaders here? And why weren't we deporting the millions that were already here? What's the difference between liberal and lefty? Well, Jonathan, that's why I make the distinction between liberal, classical liberal, and extreme leftist. Leftists are people who believe in redistribution, state control, state ownership, censorship, oppression, no free speech. You do what the government tells you. Those are extreme leftists. AOC is in that category. John Kerry's in that category. You just heard him in his own words. He's upset that the First Amendment is keeping him from silencing people like me. Well, unfortunately, unlike John Kerry, I actually fought in wars. John Kerry, the little wuss that he is a stolen valor clown, and he's a disgrace to this nation. But because the media and the left love idiots like that, he became promoted because he famously went to D.C. and tossed his medals and became famous for that. He's a scumbag. He's a scumbag. And he's always been a scumbag. He's a puss. He's a deuce. He's a moron. He's a dipshit. And he's always been a grifter. Yep. So the difference between liberal and lefty. Classical liberalism is located right here in the Constitution, Michael. Or Jonathan, excuse me, Jonathan. Yeah, very simple things like freedom of assembly, freedom of speech, freedom of worship, the right to safety and security in your possession, your belongings, to protect you from unreasonable search and seizure. Yep. Section 28 did a sterling job, my respect. Do not F with me. Okay. What is meant not listening to family, huh? Nick says Christianity isn't right wing. I'm an atheist. I believe in evolution. Anyway, how many different factions of Christianity? Well, there's a lot. Christianity is very divided. And even churches are divided. So we have the Anglican Church because they broke away from Rome because Henry VIII didn't like he couldn't get divorced. So he murdered his wives and he got divorced. So he created the Anglican Church. The Protestant Reformation came about because of the abuses of the Catholic Church and the Vatican. So we had the Protestant Reformation. We had Peter Zwingli, and we had John Calvin, and we had a whole bunch of folks who predated, of course, in the Czech Republic, in Switzerland, who predated, of course, Martin Luther posting his theses on the Church of Wittenberg. And then we had the whole Protestant Reformation. We had the 30 Years' War over religion. We had the Swedes involved in it. We had the Germans, all the different German states. 30% to half the population was killed in Central Europe as a consequence in a 30-year conflict over that nonsense. Yeah, so liberalism is different than leftyism, if you want to call it. There's no such word as leftyism. I'm just making that up for the distinction here. So the leftists believe in what the Soviets believed in. They're right. They can execute people. They can shut you down. They can silence you. They can prevent you from associating with who you want to associate with. Isn't it ironic that the very people who call conservatives right-wingers, the very people who call conservatives like myself right-wingers, are the people who will put you in camps, are the people who will silence your speech, are the people who will not let you associate with who you want to. But they claim to stand up for the little guy, for gays, and for everyone else. So we just had a little spike going back up in viewership. Why are people coming back? I wonder. Oh, maybe because those of you who betrayed me and went over to the other channel, maybe it's over now. Let's see if that's the case and you've come back. Well, thank you for coming back. Is he over? Why is this page not loading? Yep, he's ended his stream. That's why we spiked back up. That's why people who abandoned the program have come back now. But thank you for coming back. Yep, Calvinism. And your factual comments on Methodists, too. That's a big schism. Yeah, that's where I was going to, Nick. The United Methodist Church has got a schism over LGBTQ plus IALMB and something else. See, scientist is back. 8 o'clock is when he finishes. Oh, I know when he finishes, Charles. I know when he finishes. So, anyway. Debbie had to read what twice? What did you read? Charles says, I was born in Goodwick, Cape Town. Goodwood. Oh, yeah. Very different back then. Listen, every time... I know Goodwood. I drive from there, from Justin's place to the airport all the time. Listen, I got to tell you, Charles, every time I see the sign for Goodwood... who names a residential area Goodwood? It's like soft porn. Hey, I got Goodwood. Yeah, progressive is the opposite of conservative. Except the problem with that, Jonathan, is progressives paint themselves as good people doing good things when they're trying to take away your rights and take away your money. So what have you got? I've got Goodwood. Every time I start thinking of that Taylor Swift song, I got bad blood. I got Goodwood. Lefties always say right-wingers are violent and then violent. Exactly, Mark. That's right. That's right. Exactly right. Watch some of those things with Charlie Kirk. Is it Charlie? No, it's not Charlie Kirk. It's who is it does that? No, Charlie Kirk's the one I'm thinking of. He's the one doing it now. He's going around campus. It's just like, what's his name? He's disappeared. I can't think of his name right now. That guy just disappeared off the face of the earth. The one where Quarterblack is on his show. What the heck's his name? Anyway. Crowder sort of disappeared. He used to be on campuses all the time. Now I see Charlie Kirk doing the same thing. And people come on there and they're just so nasty and violent and they have horrible things to say. And they never back it up with any words. They're just demonic. Why are lawyer foundation complicating things? Why not provide layman's terms? It seems the foundation want to complicate things to be forced to ask for help monetary. I'm not sure where you're going, bystander. I think I know. But yeah, lawyers make their living off of making things complicated with big language that they think nobody understands. Anyway, all right, folks. Yeah, thanks for coming back. Those who abandoned me and went to Ronaldo, I hope you enjoyed your stream over there. Really appreciate you being back. The 117 likes. Goodwood is just down the slip from me. I know, Erica. I know. I've been to Goodwood. I've got Goodwood. Today's soft porn is brought to you by OnlyFans, the only place to go. Anyway, wow, crazy Monday. So, election coming up here. Election in Botswana. Election in Mozambique. Lots going on, folks. We'll keep you abreast of all that stuff. And hopefully people will keep coming to the channel. So tell people about the channel. I'd appreciate it. There's a lot of people who know me who don't even watch the program. If you ever meet my skirt, Enola Gay is close. Okay. No idea what it's like these days. I learned to speak Afrikaans back then. Lynette says, good day and good evening. Chris is campaigning from the 90s and early 2000s. Different campaigning. Oh, it's a question. Yes and no. Number one, you can't succeed in America unless you are in a political party. Same in South Africa. You have to be in a political party. And that's because their support structures, their resources, their expertise, all of which can be brought to bear. And the proof of the pudding is the race I was just in. The Republican precinct captains lied to us, the committee that interviewed the 5 candidates, and said they weren't supporting any candidate, but then behind our backs, undermine our campaigns and support another candidate, and even had people go out, elected representatives go out and campaign on behalf of that person after that elected representative said no, they weren't doing that. And then they colluded with special interest groups to support that candidate, bringing money in from outside the district to influence the election. Yeah, so you have to have a political party. You have to be a part of a political party. Back then, you still have to be part of one. But campaigning these days is influenced less by the methods of campaigning and more by the behavior of people on social media and by the corrupt media. The corrupt media, even though it was the main factor in news 30 years ago, didn't lie and dominate quite the way it does today. Now they're just blatant, obvious about it. They lie about Kamala Harris all the time. I mean, everything she said in that, everything she said was a lie. She lied over and over and over again in that so-called debate, and she was never fact-checked once. Of course, that's not the job of moderators to fact-check. The job is to ask questions for us to decide, after which you can have analysis, and then people can say, this was true, that was a lie, that was a lie. But doing it during it is just disrespectful, and it's disruptive. It's also, they're attention whores. Those fake journalists who did that media are attention whores.
Just like the one we forgot, what's the chick, Kamala, whatever, can't remember her name, the big, you know, oversized Jabba the Hutt journalist who misbehaved in a debate years ago, and she's just kind of Candy Crowley. Candy Crowley. Yeah, let's see where she went. Candy Crowley. She just disappeared off the face of the earth. Okay, names are coming back to me now. Candy Crowley. Candy Corn came up. Candy Crowley, American news anchor. Let's see what she's doing these days. She just disappeared. Well, she's 75. Okay, maybe that's why. She's an American news anchor who was employed by CNN as their chief political correspondent, based in D.C. Yep. So let's see when she worked. Her career, are they going to show? Okay, so she served as a moderator in 2012 for the second presidential debate between Obama and Romney, received criticism for contradicting Romney and seemingly confirming Obama's statement during an exchange with Romney over language the president used regarding the attack on Benghazi. CNN noted that conservative critics have launched an attack on Crowley, but Crowley was right. Crowley later stated that Romney was right in the main. I just think he picked the wrong word. No, she lied. So on March 17th, 2013, following a CNN report on the guilty verdict of two Steubenville High School football players for the rape of an unconscious 16-year-old, she and fellow journalist Poppy Harlow were criticized for giving too much coverage to how the verdict would affect the defendants' lives. On December 5th, 2014, she announced a decision to leave the network after 27 years. She's a fellow at, where else? Harvard Institute of Politics. She's a journalist. What is she doing at Harvard Institute of Politics? Polluting the political environment and educating. Yep, she's divorced, has 2 children, 2 stepchildren, 4 grandchildren. Her elder son is a neurosurgeon. Her younger son is a musician. Well, at least they're contributing to life. Candy Crowley isn't. Evil, evil person. Yeah, she's an evil, evil person. I remember that debate. Very arrogant asshat. In her case, it's the Vol. Oh, you talking about volley girls? Goodwood is where the pancake man and cook sister man is. Politics is dirty. Kamala is a germaphobe. Trump? I have no idea if Kamala's germaphobe. She's a truthophobe. She's definitely a truthophobe. She has a very poor relationship with the truth. I missed the tribute. What tribute did I miss, Garrett? What? You talking about some Vietnam helicopter pilot died. I went back to the chat. I can't find it. So I'm not sure. I don't know what you're talking about. Sorry if I missed something that you thought I should cover. You're welcome, Lynette. The guy who played John Black in Days of Lives passed away. Yeah, no, I saw that, but I didn't think it was noteworthy. I saw that yesterday. I didn't cover it. This is the most refreshing stream. No pollution. I believe they're promoting a Star Adventure. The Orange River Girls. Get Blixton by the mother. All right, guys. I think that's enough for today. What do you think? 120 likes, a little bit of super chat revenue. That's going to wrap it up. So not a great month financially, but the Rugby Ascended channel is actually generate some revenue this month from the ads. So thanks to that. Chris Christopherson's Vietnam. Oh, Charles, I covered Chris Christopherson. Garrett, don't say I missed that. I covered Chris Christopherson. I did. I absolutely did cover him. He was offered an appointment at West Point to teach English, and he passed on it. Now, Chris Christopherson, what an accomplished career, died at the age of 88. I reported on that yesterday. The New York Times obituary. Need to do post-match videos on rugby. Yeah, no, I see that. I did the one on Monty, and that's done something. I don't know what the total number is now. Let me see what the total number of views on that one is. It was approaching 5,000 yesterday. It's funny because some people were very honest in their feedback, and I appreciate that. Because I said, "What say you?" I asked for people's feedback. Some people were just rude, and and they obviously didn't watch the video. So let me go over to switch account to that. I can do it on my mobile. So that video is 5,600 views. That's not bad. That's pretty good on that channel for a prepared video. It's better than some. You say you have previously been supporting Monty several times videos. So what has changed? Why are you not supporting him now? Oh my goodness. I'll have to answer that when I get off air. I'm not supporting Monty. I just don't think he's a solution at kicking, is what I said. Yep. Have a beer, talk some more rugby. Yeah. Stats are for accountants, not rugby fans. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Anyway, so yeah. Rugby Ascendant. Maybe I'll go over there and do a live stream on Rugby Ascendant. I've never done a live stream just to chat on Rugby Ascendant. Maybe I'll do that, see what happens if anybody shows up and just talk about the game. So anyway, prepared videos take a lot of effort and time. I can sit down and do a live stream off the cuff anytime with my big brain. Although I'm having trouble remembering some people's names of late. What's going on there? 2 Cents Rugby always quotes stats. Stats in rugby are okay. They're not fantastic. They are helpful to indicate things. I mean, if you have 75% possession and you're not getting any points, there's a problem there. So you're making mistakes. So Diane McMeekin is getting a gift of membership. Ray Max, Matthew Dixon. Oh, Matthew went over Ronaldo's channel and complained he never gets free memberships. Well, there it is right there. Jax is here. Chris Swanepoel. So there's the first one, Ray Max. Congratulations. Jax is here. I didn't know she was here. She's very quiet. Chris Swanepoel. Chris, I've been wondering where Chris is at. Chris has been very quiet in the chat. I did post a comment on a video I saw, though. So there's Diane McMeekin. Once again, Nick gifted these memberships, but Nick has no say over who gets them, folks. It's just done by, yeah, Eric is laughing. Matthew was whining on Ronaldo's channel. He never gets memberships. He was trolling. Jax, congratulations. And he gets them all the time. I don't know. I think Matthew works for YouTube. Matthew. I think Matthew works for YouTube. Very balanced vlogs on rugby. One of the few rugby Kiwis who's fair. Yeah, Charles, I'm familiar with the name and the product, but I don't really watch it. Chris Swanepoel, congratulations. No, I get asked all the time to collaborate with the Kiwi lads and with 2 Cents, but the Kiwi lads, I think, was the ones who reached out to me in the past and said they were interested, but then they just disappeared. I think it was them. Anyway. All right. Yep. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll probably do something on rugby later on tonight, either recorded or do a live stream, but it'll be really late so nobody will watch it. Anyway. Yeah. So thanks, everybody. God bless. Have a good day. And I got to deal with some text messages here related to the Veterans Organization. Thanks for sticking around. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done it already. It costs you nothing but a moment of your time. Remember, it's the last day of the month to contribute. But here's the irony. It's the last day of the month, and the revenue generated 30 days doesn't come till the 22nd of the next month, 3 weeks after the month. But anyway, it runs throughout the month. Today's the 30th of September, so if you want to give a super chat, you can do that, and you can do a super chat or sticker on a video after the fact too. You got the rest of the day. So yeah, I paid some of my bills, Garrett, but I still got some more. Rugby stats can be used to prove anything. It doesn't mean they reflect the game. Exactly, Flesh, 100%. I agree with that. Doesn't matter. It's who has the winning score at the end. But they can be indicative of some problems on a team. You're all welcome. Thanks for being here. Catch you later. God bless and peace out. Peace in. Peace out. Peace out. Whatever you want to say. That hippy dippy stuff. God bless is what I say. Cheers.